have we going on, Tom? 1 minute?
Yeah.
We have lineups?
I did.
Yeah.
Got you a printout. You have it right here.
Good. What's this speed test thing, Joe?
Oh, that's to make sure our internet doesn't go down. Let me check. Hold on. Oh, I have the back end on here. Now I can watch the net.
All right, we're going to go on in a couple of minutes. I'm going to get my stats.
We're on, so your mic is probably on if you want to mute that.
Live from the softball complex on the campus of the College of Staten Island, you're watching exclusive non-conference CUNYAC softball coverage right here on CSI Sportsnet. This afternoon, the College of Staten Island moves into its final weekend of the season as they will have 4 doubleheaders scheduled in 4 consecutive games, starting today with a doubleheader against Old Westbury. Hi, everybody. I'm Mike Babuski, and the College of Staten Island back in action here tonight in what could be the first of 4 consecutive doubleheaders for the Dolphins, depending on the weather, which looks a little shaky for tomorrow. But the Dolphins looking to continue their winning ways. They have extended their record to 10-0 in the CUNYAC Conference. They'll wrap up their conference schedule this Saturday and Senior Day against John Jay, but first non-conference doubleheaders against Old Westbury and then NJCU tomorrow before the Dolphins wrap up their regular conference CUNYAC season this Saturday and then have a non-conference doubleheader against William Patterson, currently the number 25 team in the country, scheduled for this Sunday afternoon. So a lot of softball remaining on the schedule for the Dolphins. Dolphins looking to finish the regular season undefeated in CUNYAC play. They played good softball as of late. They've won their last 4 conference games, giving up just 1 run in 4 games against Baruch and York College, and are looking to extend their winning streak to 5 today against Old Westbury. Old Westbury coming into today's game with a record of 12-10. They've been hitting the ball pretty well, and coming into today's game and looking to wrap up their regular season as well, as both teams get ready to begin preparation for the CUNYAC championships. For the Dolphins, they will look to defend their CUNYAC championship here once again. They will start Nicolette Trapani on the mound in game 1. We expect that it'll be Allison Marr on the mound in game number 2 for the Dolphins. If you were here on Sunday, you got to see Vanessa Porter win her first game against York College as Dolphins were able to sweep a doubleheader from the Cardinals and help them extend their winning streak in the conference to 10 and overall to 4 consecutive games. For Old Westbury, it will be Lauren Blum on the mound today for Old Westbury, as they're going to look to come in here today and upset the Dolphins here. As we mentioned, Old Westbury 12-10 on the year, 5-9 in the conference. They've won their last couple of games. That was a doubleheader win against Yeshiva University. Prior to that, they split their doubleheader against Purchase College. And we mentioned Lauren Blum on the mound for Old Westbury here this afternoon. Lauren coming in with a record of 5-2. And Nicolette out to the start of this afternoon. Softball coverage right here on your voice of everything CSI Sports, CSI Sportsnet. We're back, and we're just moments away from the start of this afternoon's game between the College of Staten Island and Old Westbury. The College of Staten Island coming in undefeated in CUNYAC play here today. Their first of two consecutive non-conference doubleheaders. Then they'll be back in action this Saturday, Senior Day, against John Jay College before wrapping up the regular season on the road against William Patterson. William Patterson coming in ranked 25th in the country, and the Dolphins looking to finish the season on a high note as they get ready for the start of CUNYAC conference play. That conference play will begin next Friday right here at the CSI Softball Complex. Friday and Saturday, the championship games starting right here at the CSI Softball Complex next week. So we'll step aside. We'll take one final break here as we get ready for the national anthem, and then we'll be back to bring you the starting lineups and the start of this afternoon's doubleheader between the College of Staten Island and Old Westbury as you're watching women's softball coverage exclusively on your voice of CSI Sports, CSI Sportsnet, CSIDolphins.com. We're back, and we're moments away from the start of this afternoon's game. We're running a little bit late here on the start time, as the Dolphins will face the Panthers of Old Westbury. The Dolphins coming in with a 4-game winning streak on the year. They've upped their record now to 16-10 on the year, and are looking to continue that momentum as they head into CUNYAC conference play that will begin next week. So Dolphins with 8 games coming up here, and Dolphins had just played 26 games throughout the year, so basically the Dolphins adding almost a third to their schedule here over the next 4 days, weather permitting. So the Dolphins getting ready to face Old Westbury here. This is the first of 3 consecutive home doubleheaders for the Dolphins, as they will get ready for the CUNYAC Championship, looking to defend their CUNYAC Championship, a championship round that they will go in as heavy favorites as they look to extend their CUNYAC winning championship ways. Nicolette Trapani on the mound for the Dolphins here today. Nicolette upping her record to 7-6 with her win over York College this Sunday afternoon. So as the players begin to line up along the baselines, we'll step aside, take a break for the national anthem, and then we'll be back to bring you the starting lineups and the start of this afternoon's game between the Dolphins and the Panthers. You're watching CUNYAC softball coverage on CSI Sportsnet, CSIDolphins.com. We're back here at the CSI Softball Complex, the College of Staten Island, getting ready to face Old Westbury here in a non-conference doubleheader. Nicolette Trapani will be on the mound for the Dolphins. Trapani looking to extend her 7-6 record against the Panthers here this afternoon. And while the Dolphins get ready to take the field, why don't we bring you the starting lineup here for the Old Westbury Panthers that will face Nicolette Trapani here this afternoon. Leading off and playing left field, Otelia Burnell. Batting second and pitching, Lauren Blum. Batting third and playing first base, Amelia Carletti. Batting fourth and playing shortstop, Amanda Fucci. Batting fifth and catching, Samantha Arcasi. Batting sixth and playing second base, Katie Skelly. Batting seventh, the third baseman, Amanda Neenan. Batting eighth and playing right field, Christian Greishaber. And batting ninth and playing center field will be Nicole Barron. The Panthers will not use a designated player here starting game number 1. And for the Dolphins, we mentioned it's Nicolette Trapani out on the mound for the Dolphins. Let's give you the remainder of the Dolphins here defensively. Jamie Holmes will be at first base. Kristen Barr will be at second. At shortstop, Patricia Riches. And around at third, Antoinette Garbo. Ariana Di Benedetto will be in left field. Christina Severiso will be in center. Juliana Quintella around at right. Vanessa Joya will be back on the behind the dish and catching here tonight. And as we mentioned, Nicolette Trapani will be on the mound starting here for the Dolphins this afternoon. Trapani coming in with a record of 7-6, a 2.69 ERA. This will be her 15th appearance, her 14th start. She has 11 complete games, 2 shutouts. In 80 2/3 innings, she's allowed 86 hits, 33 runs, 31 of those runs earned. She's walked 13 and struck out 69. So Trapani coming in with a record of 7-6 on the year. She will get ready to face the 12-10 Westbury Panthers here this afternoon as Trapani's on the rubber getting ready for the first pitch. And the first pitch is attempted bunt at and pulls the bat back for a strike, 0-1. Otelia Bennell, the left fielder, the batter here for the Panthers. We'll get you her numbers in just a minute as that pitch is down low for a ball, and the count goes to 2-0. And I'd see the umpire put his hand up after that first bunt attempt. Sure looked like she took a nice offer at it, but got called for the ball. That next pitch is on the outside corner for a strike, and that's going to run the count to 2-1. Bennell coming into today's game batting .339 as she gets ready for the 2-1 pitch, and that's going to be a swing and a miss, and that'll even the count up now at 2-2. Bennell is 19 of 56 on the year, just 1 extra base hit, that a double, and 7 RBIs. The 0-2 pitch is swung on and hit down the third baseline foul, and that count will hold now at 2-2. Just underway, first of 2 here at the CSI Softball Complex, Dolphins and Panthers. Trapani, the 2-2 pitch is swung on, and that's also knocked down the third baseline foul once again, so the count holds at 2-2. So Otelia will step back in the box. She's already had a good leadoff at-bat here for the Panthers. This will be the 7th pitch of the at-bat. The wind and the pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. So that time Burnell chased after a pitch a little bit high out of the strike zone. Trapani picks up her first strikeout of the evening, and that's going to bring up the pitcher, Lauren Blum. Blum third on hitting on the Panthers. 29 of 69. She has 2 home runs and 15 RBIs, and the first pitch is on the inside corner at the knees for a strike, 0-1. Beautiful, sunshiny day. Great day for softball, and hopefully something that's going to be the future here for the last week or 2 of the season, as Trapani is up high with that ball, and that's going to even the count up now at 1-1. Trapani looking in. She's ready. The 1-1 is swung on, skied in the air into short right field. Quintella drifting in just a couple of steps. And she makes the catch for the second out. 2 up, 2 down quickly for the Panthers in their half of the first inning. And that's going to bring up the first baseman, the right-handed hitting Amelia Caridi. Caridi leading the Panthers in batting, .460 on the year, 23 for 50 with 5 doubles and 11 RBIs. And the first pitch is on the inside corner at the knees for a strike, 0-1. Dolphins bats really starting to hit up over the last couple of weeks. And that's a swing and a miss for a strike. Trapani quickly ahead in the count, 0-2. As the Dolphins picking the right time to start getting hot. The wind and the pitch. Just off the outside corner for a ball, 1-2. So 2 balls, 2 strikes, no one out here, or no one on, I should say, in the top of the first. That pitch is swung on, hit hard but foul, past the first base dugout, now to play, and the count holds at 1-2. One ball, 2 strikes now, the count. As Trapani is ready. And the pitch. Take it on the inside corner, strike 3. So Trapani strikes out 2 of the 3 first batters she faces in the top half of the first inning. For the Panthers, nothing across. A half inning in the books. Panthers nothing. Dolphins coming to bat. You're watching women's softball coverage on your voice of everything. CSI Sports, CSI Sportsnet, CSIDolphins.com. We're back as we get ready for the bottom half of the first inning. Nicolette Trapani struck out 2 of the first 3 Panthers she faced, and Lauren Blum will be on the mound here for the Panthers. And the lineup she will face will be Patricia Richards leading off and playing short, Antoinette at third base batting second, Antoinette Galbo, Vanessa Joya catching and batting third, Jamie Holmes at first base, she'll bat fourth. As Bloom gets ready, and the first pitch is down low for a ball to Richards, 1-0. Batting fifth, the designated player Erica Olsen. Juliana Quintella will be in right field batting sixth. Christina Severiso will be in center field. She'll bat seventh. The 1-0 pitch, outside corner for a strike, 1-1. Batting eighth and pitching will be Nicolette Trapani, and batting ninth and playing left field will be Ariana Di Benedetto. Christian Marr will be at second base, the flex player, and she will not bat. They will face Lauren Bloom. Lauren coming in with a record of 5-2 on the year, a 2.83 ERA. This is her ninth appearance all-start. She has 7 complete games and a shutout, and the pitch is taken for a strike. That'll even the count up now at 2-2. In 52 innings, she's allowed 66 hits, 21 earned runs, 25 total runs, walked 8, struck out 32, and the pitch is a swing and a miss. So Richards goes down swinging on strikes, the second strikeout of the year for Patricia Richards. And now with 1 out, no one on, that's going to bring up the red-hot Antoinette Galbo. Bloom winds, and the first pitch to Galbo is on the outside corner for a strike, 0-1. Antoinette upping her average all the way up now to 395, 32 of 81, 4 doubles, 4 triples, 2 homers, and 16 RBIs. Bloom winds, the pitch is swung on the ground and slowly up the middle, and under the glove that time of the second baseman and into right field. As that time Skelly didn't get down low enough on the ball went past her, and that'll be an error on the second baseman, and that will put Galbo on first base now with 1 out and bring up the catcher, Vanessa Joya. The wind, and Blum's first pitch, Joya swings and hits that one over to first base. The throw down to second for one, back to first, not in time, but a nice play that time to get the 3-6 force out on Galbo. And now Joya will be down on first base with 2 out, and that'll bring up the first baseman, Jamie Holmes. Joya came in batting .357 with 15 RBIs, and now Jamie Holmes, who's also been red hot of late. Her average now up to .390. 30 of 37, 13 doubles to lead the team, 2 homers and 24 RBIs for Jamie. And that pitch is swung on, and that's laced down the left field line, and that's going to be in for a base hit. Coming over is the left fielder, Bernal. She'll cut the ball off. Holmes will cruise it to second base with a 2-out double, and now the Dolphins have 2 runners in scoring position with 2 out for the designated player, Erica Olson. So a big batter coming up now is Olson, batting .267, 8 of 30 on the year with 6 RBIs, 2 big runners in scoring position here for the Dolphins. And the first pitch is at the knees for a strike, 0-1. No balls, 1 strike to count on Olson. The pitch just inside for a ball. That's going to even the count up at 1-1. Defensively for the Panthers, Amelia Caridi at first base, Katie Skelly at second, Amanda Fucci at short. And that pitch is a swing and a miss. And Olson now falls behind in the count now at 1-2. And Amanda Neenan around at third, Altalia Bernal in left field, Nicole Barron in center. The pitch is a swung on and foul back, and the count will hold at 1-2. And Christian Greishaber around in right. Samantha Arcasi is catching, and Laura Blum, the right-hander, on the mound here for the Panthers. 2 balls, 2 strikes now on Olson, or 1-2, I should say. And the 1-2 is swung on, and that's blooped into left field, and that's going to be trouble, and that's in for a base hit. 1 run scores. Holmes comes around third. She's in to score. It's a 2-out bloop RBI single for Erica Olson, and the College of Staten Island leads by a score of 2-0. So good 2-out hitting by the Dolphins here in their half of the first inning. First, Jamie Holmes laces a double down the left field line, and then Erica Olson with 2 strikes, able to bloop a single into left field to give the Dolphins a 2-0 lead, and that's going to bring up the right fielder, Juliana Cretella. Cretella taking the first pitch down low for a ball, 1-0. The pitch is swung on, and that's drilled into left field, and that could be trouble. And it's in the gap, and it's going to roll all the way to the wall. Olson around third. She's chugging home. She will score. It's a 2-out RBI double by Juliana Cretella, and the College of Staten Island now leads by a score of 3-0. Nice pitch hitting that time by Cretella. She drilled it into the right center field gap in between Bernal and Barron. Neither player had a chance. And the Dolphins have picked up 3 runs here with 2 outs in their half of the first inning to take a 3-0 lead. So Christina Severiso will be the batter now for the Dolphins. Christina has been building up her average over the last couple of weeks. And that pitch is down low for a ball now, 2-0. Her average now up to .262 on the year, 11 for 42, 3 doubles and 7 RBIs, and that's drilled into center, and that's going to be in for a base hit. Fielding the ball in center field for the Panthers will be Barron, but coming home to score will be Cretella, and the Dolphins with 4 consecutive hits with 2 outs in their half of the first inning, and they take a 4-0 lead. So the Dolphins got Patricia Richards led off the game and struck out. There was then an error on the ground ball by Galbo, as the first pitch to Trapani is a swing and a miss. Count goes to 0-1. Joya forced out 3-6, so the Dolphins had just 2 outs and a runner on first base. As Blum looks in, the pitch is down low for a ball. And that's going to even the count now at 1-1. But then Jamie Holmes lashed a 2-out double down the left field line. Erica Olson blooped a single to bring home the first 2 Dolphin runs, and then then a double by Quintella as that ball is grounded to short. Played there by Fucci, and the throw over to first base to Corritti in time for the final out, but not before the Dolphins send 8 batters to the plate in the first inning and pick up 4 runs on 4 hits. There was 1 big Panther error and 1 left. 1 in the books. Dolphins lead by a score of 4-0. We'll step aside, take a break, and we'll be right back. We're back getting ready now for the top half of the second inning. The Dolphins with 4 runs, all with scoring with 2 outs in their half of the first inning to take a 4-0 lead. So Nicolette Trapani will be on the mound. She'll face Amanda Fucci leading off, and she starts off with an off-speed breaking ball. Fucci way out ahead. A swing and a miss for a strike, 0-1. The wind and the pitch. It's taken just upstairs for a ball. That's going to even the count up now at 1-1. Fucci coming in batting .368 on the year. 25 of 68. She's also scored 24 runs, a homer, and 19 RBIs as she swings through that high fastball and falls behind in the count now at 1-2. Trapani looking in the 1-2. Off-speed breaking pitch on the outside corner. Strike 3 call. Beautiful pitch that time by Trapani. She gets her 3rd strikeout in the first 4 outs, and that's going to bring up the catcher, Samantha Arcasi. Arcasi coming in batting .360 on the year. The Panthers batting .343 as a team here in 2018. The wind and the first pitch by Trapani is a swing and a miss, strike 1. Arcasi, 5 doubles, 2 home runs, 19 RBIs. Back into the Panther dugout, out of play, 0-2. No balls, 2 strikes here with 1 out in the top half of the second. The wind and the pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. So Skelly's second on the team in batting and limited at bat. She's just 5 of 11 on the year with 3 RBIs, and she swings and misses and fouls that one back for a strike, 0-1. No balls, 1 strike. And that pitch is taken for a strike. Trapani ahead in the count once again now at 0-2. The wind and the pitch is taken. Strike three call. So Trapani strikes out the side, and she struck out 5 of the first 6 Panthers she faced. Nothing across for the Panthers in their half of the second inning. 1.5 inning in the books. 4-0 Dolphins lead. We'll step aside, take a break, and we'll be right back. We're back, and we're getting ready now for the bottom half of the second inning. Nicolette Trapani has been on fire here through the first 2 innings, striking out 5 of the first 6 Panthers that she's faced, and the Dolphins scored 4 runs with 2 outs in their half of the first inning to take a 4-0 lead. It'll be 9-1-2 for the Dolphins here in their half of the second inning. DiBenedetto, Riches, and Galbo. Blum winds, and the first pitch is taken high for a ball, 1-0. DiBenedetto in her freshman season. The wind and the pitch on the outside corner at the knees for a strike. That's going to even the count up at 1-1. Ariana 6 of 34, 2 doubles and a triple, and 4 RBIs. The wind and the pitch is down low for a ball. That'll run the count now to 2-1. DiBenedetto leading off here in the bottom half of the second inning. Dolphins off to a good start, and they lead by a score of 4-0. DiBenedetto swings through that pitch, and that's going to even the count up now at 2-2. The wind and the 2-2 pitch to DiBenedetto is swung on and blooped in the air down the right field line. And giving it a chase will be the first baseman. That's Caridi, but unable to make a play, so the count holds at 2-2. Caridi looking, and the pitch to DiBenedetto just outside for a ball. That'll run the count full now to 3-2. So 3 balls, 2 strikes here. And the pitch is swung on that drill down the first base line, but Caridi able to stab it out of the air for the catch and the first out. So DiBenedetto hits that ball hard down the first field line, but Caridi is there for the put out, and that will bring up the shortstop, Patricia Riches, off the game with a strikeout, only the second time she struck out here in 2018. Blum winds, and the first pitch is swung on and grounded hard to shortstop, and the throw over to first base in time for the out. So a nice play by Fucci as Rich's first pitch swinging grounds out to short. She's now 0 for 2 on the afternoon, and that will bring up the third baseman, Antoinette Galbo. Galbo reached on a 1-out error by the second baseman, Katie Skelly, and that ended up opening the floodgates as she grounds right back to the mound, and an easy inning for Blum in her half of the second inning. Nothing across for the Dolphins. 3 up, 3 down. 2 complete in the books. Dolphins lead by a score 4-0. We'll step aside, take a break, and we'll be right back. We're back, and we're getting ready now for the top half of the third inning. 6 up, 6 down. Trapani has struck out 5 of the first batters she's faced. And it'll be Amanda Neenan, the third baseman, leading off. She swings and hits the ball slowly to third. Galbo Fields comes up firing and guns it over for the first out. So Neenan, first pitch swinging, goes down 5-3 for the first out. So 1 up, 1 down here quickly for the Panthers here as Neenan came in batting .305 on the year. And now that's going to bring up the right fielder for the Panthers as that first pitch is going to be taken for a ball, or taken for a strike, I should say, 0-1. Christian Greishaber, the batter, as that pitch is swung on and grounded foul, and that'll even the count up at 1-1. Greishaber coming into today's game batting just .250 in limited at-bats. She's just 1 of 4 on the year. The wind and the pitch is a swing and a miss. And now Trapani gets ahead in the count once again at 1-2. Trapani looking to work quickly. She's been around the plate all afternoon, and that one is swung on and popped up in the air. Coming over is the catcher, Joyer, and she makes the catch in foul territory for the second out. So 2 up, 2 down quickly now for the Panthers. And that's going to bring up Nicole Barron, the center fielder. Left-handed batter for the Panthers, and the first pitch off the outside corner for a ball, 1-0. Barron batting .270 on the year, 17 to 63, 6 doubles, a triple, and 12 RBIs. The pitch just off the outside corner for a ball, and Trapani falls behind in the count, 2-0. She's been doing a good job staying ahead of the batters all afternoon long. Down in the count now, 2-0, and the 2-0 pitch. Up high for a ball, 3-0. 3 balls, no strikes, 2 outs, nobody on, and the 3-0 pitch is just off the outside corner for a ball. And Pani thought that one might have caught a little bit of the plate, but instead Barron will draw the base on balls. That will be the first base runner for the Panthers here this afternoon, and 2 out, nobody on, or 2 outside runner on first base. And that'll bring up the left fielder, Otelia Burnell. Burnell struck out in the first inning. She bunts at the first pitch and misses and falls behind in the count now, 0-1. Trapani looking in for the sign. She's ready. The 0-1. on the outside corner for a strike, 0-2. So Trapani quickly ahead in the count now, 0-2 with a runner at first base and 2 outs for the Panthers. Trapani winds the 0-2 pitch, is swung on and foul back, and the count holds at 0-2. Barron 3 of 3 in stolen base attempts on the year. But like the Dolphins, the Panthers don't run that much, although they have been successful. 17 of 18 that's going to be a bunt attempt and a miss for strike 3. So Trapani picks up her 6th strikeout through 3 innings. Nothing across, a walk and 1 left. We played 2.5 innings of play. Dolphins 4, Panthers nothing. We'll step aside, take a break, and we'll be right back. We're back getting ready for the bottom half of the 3rd inning. The Dolphins lead by a score of 4-0. The Panthers got a base runner on with 2 out via a 2-out walk but to Nicole Barron, but that's as far as she got as Otelia Bonnell struck out for the 2nd time. So now the Dolphins will come to bat in their half of the 3rd inning, 3, 4, and 5. Joya, Holmes, and Olsen for the Dolphins, and Dolphins looking to build on that 4-0 lead. So Vanessa Joya will lead off. Joya batted in the 1st inning and was forced out 3-6. Advanced to first base and came on to score on the Erica Olsen 2-out single. And the first pitch, just outside for a ball, 1-0. Joya, Holmes, and Olsen for the Dolphins here in their half of the 3rd. And the 1-0. Taken for a strike. That'll even the count up at 1-1. Joya batting .357 on the year, 6 doubles, a triple, no home runs, and 15 RBIs. The pitch is spun and grounded hard towards third. The bobble and the throw over to first base is just in time. So it was a hard ground ball. It was played there by Neenan at third base. She bobbled it, but able to recover and get it over across to Caridi in time for the first out. So 1 up, 1 down for the Dolphins in their half of the 3rd, and that will bring up Jamie Holmes. The wind and the first pitch to Holmes is taken on the outside corner for a strike, 0-1. Holmes, one of the hottest hitters on this Dolphin team. And it was her 2-out double that advanced Joy to third that helped the Dolphins in their half of the 1st inning to score 4 runs as she swings that one and fouls the ball off and now falls behind in the count now at 0-2. Holmes with that base hit has her average up over 395, and she added to her team-leading doubles as she picked up her 14th in the 1st inning. And the pitch to Holmes is swung on and grounded up the middle towards second base. Skelly plays the throw over to first base in time for the 2nd out. So Holmes hustling down the line, but Skelly able to get the ball over there and catch Holmes by a step or so at first base for the 2nd out. So Blum doing a nice job settling down. She's retired the last 6 batters she faced, and now with 2 out, no one on, that will bring out Erica Olsen. Olsen singled home 2 in the 1st. She's 1 for 1 on the year and takes the first pitch for a strike, 0-1. With those two doubles, Olsen upping her RBI total to 8 on the year in her freshman campaign. The 0-1 pitch down low for a ball. That'll even the count up at 1-1. Bottom half of the third inning. Dolphins lead here by a score of 4-0. Blum winds and the pitch up high for a ball. And that's going to run the count now to 2-1. Blum looking in. Now the 2-1 pitch is swung on and nubbed at the plate foul, and that'll even the count up at 2-2. Beautiful sunshiny afternoon here on Staten Island. Not much wind and the temperatures up in the 60s. Great day for softball, and the 2-2 pitch is going to be outside for a ball, and that'll run the count full now to 3-2. Three balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, no one on for the Dolphins here in the third. And the 3-2. Swung on and grounded slowly to third. Played there by Neenan. She guns it across the diamond to Caridi in time for the final out. So Blum, since allowing those 4 runs in the first, have retired the last 7 Dolphins she's faced. Nothing across. 3 up, 3 down for the Dolphins. 3 complete in the books. Dolphins lead by a score of 4-0. We'll step aside, take a break, and we'll be right back. We're back, and we're getting ready now for the top half of the fourth inning. Blum, Caridi, and Fucci will be these 3 scheduled batters here for the Panthers in the top half of the fourth inning. The Dolphins leading by a score of 4-0, but we're very pleased to be joined by CSI Athletic Director Charles Gomes as we have an opportunity to talk to Charles about the spring sports and a couple other surprises, including a brand new announcement for everybody. Charles, welcome back once again to CSI Sportsnet.
Thanks for having me, Mike. You looked a little lonely here today, so I thought I'd come join to give you a little company.
Boy, we appreciate it. So let's talk a little bit, Charles, before we get into the softball and the spring season and all that good stuff that's going on. A new announcement and a new women's head coach for the CSI women's soccer team.
Yeah, it's very exciting for us, Mike. We've got a brand new coach that we just announced formally today. It's been a long process for us this spring. The best part about the entire hire for me is that it finally gives us an opportunity to bring in a coach that could be here on a full-time basis and not just a part-time basis. And we feel we've had a lot of success with our women's soccer program the last few years, making NCAA appearances. However, we think that might just be the tip of the iceberg where we could really grow something, develop a program that could be more competitive regionally and hopefully nationally at some point.
As Blum goes down on strikes for the first out here in the fourth, that's the 6th strikeout for Trapani, and that'll bring up the first baseman, Amelia Caridi. has been taking off, a couple of consecutive CUNYAC championships now, and a big goal on the road at Johns Hopkins in the NCAA tournament. So a lot of positives and a lot to build on here for the new head coach.
Yeah, we feel like we are at a critical juncture in the development of our program where if we brought in a full-time coach now, not just any full-time coach, but the right one, and I believe we do have the right one in Brittany. I think she's a good young coach, very well organized, high soccer IQ, pushes herself to go on and get professional development opportunities, advanced licenses in coaching soccer. She knows the youth soccer community, the club soccer community in the tri-state area, which I think will help her with recruiting. And, she's here today already meeting with the team, and she'll be coaching them in their scrimmage on Saturday against Queens College. So we couldn't be happier than to have her join our team.
Yeah, so the women's soccer season already, in a sense, getting underway, Charles, here in the early going. And, we're sitting and we're watching this Lady Dolphins softball team with a 4-0 lead here this afternoon. And, it's been a lot of consecutive championships for this women's softball team, and it really seems like they're starting to heat up at the right time.
Yes, a little bit of an early struggle to start the season with their trip overnight to down in the Arizona area. They opened up, I believe, 1-7, a little bit of a struggle, played some tough competition. And, I think one of the other problems they've had, as well as our baseball team, is really finding a groove with the bad weather, lots of cancellations, no time to be practicing outdoors, stuck in the gym, where no baseball or softball team really wants to be. They want to be outdoors. And now that we've had the last couple of weeks an opportunity to have a little bit of a steadier schedule, I think you're seeing their bats start to heat up, pitching becoming more crisp, and our team just overall looking more competitive.
Then, Saturday, of course, senior day for this women's Dolphins team. And, Nicolette Trapani, of course, a senior this year. And as that ball's going to be popped over to second, Mark goes back and makes the catch for the second out. So 2 up, 2 down for the Panthers. But, a big loss for the Dolphins last year. Jackie Catella goes on to graduate. And, all things considered, she might be the best softball player in CSI history, certainly the best two-way player that the Dolphins ever had. And now with Trapani getting ready to graduate as well, it's, amazing how quickly 4 years could go by, Charles.
Yeah, it's. I think you might have it right there with Jackie Cotella. She was. I know my time here has been limited, but when I look at the record books, in terms of a two-way player, I'd be challenged to find anyone who is better than her. She did it in the circles. She did it at the dish. She pretty much did it all. And I'm impressed that we're still as competitive as we are after losing a player like that. That's a kid to me who probably walks right into the Hall of Fame when her time is up. With Jackie, she earned that in her career here. Never lost a CUNY championship during her career, 4-0. And I don't know how many MVPs she got during those tournaments, but I'd say at least multiple. But now we've got a kid like Nicolette who's a senior, and it seems like she just started here yesterday, but the 4 years goes quickly. She's been an ace for us this year. She's done an outstanding job. I know you have her stats there in front of you, but she's just been absolutely unbelievable for us, and she'll be another void to fill when she graduates this year.
Then, as the Dolphins get ready for the CUNYAC championship, that championship will take place right here at the CSI softball complex. And, the Dolphins feeling pretty good about themselves and really going in as a pretty solid favorite in the tournament, Charles.
Yeah, I think so. We haven't played all of our conference games yet. Like you mentioned, senior day, we still have John Jay to go. But I think recent history, including this season, we have been the best program. And I'm hoping that we can be competitive next week. You never know what's going to happen when you get here for game day. But I think if we play our game, we should be right there competing on Saturday for the title.
Charles, let's turn our attention a little bit over to baseball. A little bit of an unfortunate circumstance happening here early in the week. For the first time ever that I could remember, the no breast cancer awareness game in 2018.
Yeah, this weather has been absolutely brutal this spring. We were already delayed back 1 week with our breast cancer game. We tried to play it last night, and unfortunately the weather just didn't cooperate. And that's something that's really disappointing for all of us in our athletic department, as well as our campus, because that's a cause that raised over $70,000 in the history of us having this game in partnership with Drew. And I know both sides were very disappointed that we weren't able to play that this year.
You know, Charles, it's been a while since the CUNYAC tournament got an NCAA bid, as that's going to be strike three to end the inning, and we'll keep it right here in between innings. But it's been a little bit of a while, Charles, since the CUNYAC conference tournament had attached to it an automatic NCAA bid. And, you know, I know that the conference and the athletic directors have really been, you know, working hard and trying to figure out a solution. Is anything on the horizon that maybe could help get this back into the rotation for an automatic bid?
You must have some inside information, Mike. I'm going to have to start questioning because there's a lot of talk happening right now. I can't, nothing's finalized yet, but I'm hoping by the time we have our end-of-year meeting the first week in June that we'll be able to make an announcement that will excite everybody, and that's a CSI baseball supporter. I know since I've been here, and it predates me by a number of years, but that's something that the conference has worked toward, and a lot of our baseball guys, we only have 5 baseball schools that are CUNY conference schools, so that's been our trouble. You need to have 7 to get the NCAAQ, and I'm hopeful that we have that plan comes to fruition, and in some point mid-June we can make a really exciting announcement for all of our baseball followers, because our team
allows all the players to dream when they have an opportunity to get into that national tournament. You know, taking a look at a couple of the other spring sports, Charles, the men's volleyball program continuing to evolve.
Yeah, we're looking to grow the program. You know what? We started it 4 years ago. We were the only CUNY school to not have men's volleyball. We added that as we look to increase our total number of sports that we sponsor at the varsity level. So it's been a tough growth process for us, without a doubt. But our new coach, first year, Larry, he's done a really good job. We had our end of season meeting 2 days ago, and he's got a list of 6 recruits that are coming in that he believes can be starting. What we're trying to do with women's soccer, making it full time. That's our goal with Larry, having him coach the men and the women in volleyball, and having him here full time to try to get us to be more competitive. But it starts and ends with recruiting.
And then, of course, we have the tennis season also winding down here, Charles, as we almost get into May.
Yeah, the tennis regular season is complete. We finished 3rd. Seemingly, we're always in that battle for the top 3 with Hunter and Baruch. This year, we came in 3rd.
As Severiso has a 1-out single, that'll break the streak of 8 in a row and bring up the pitcher, Nicolette Trapani.
Yep, nice hit there by Cece to right center. Had to break this up. We haven't got a base runner, I don't think, for a little bit here since the first inning.
Yep.
But, TJ just did a phenomenal job, and we talk about effort of our coaches, and now I saw that all during the basketball season. He was put into a tough spot with a late hire with the transition time with Tony. And each year she got a lot of accolades during her 4 years. Just an incredible career, and I'm happy that she ended up choosing to be a Dolphin.
Yeah, and, Charles, teams turn over every year, but this is going to be a huge turnover for the women's basketball team.
No, without a doubt. But it's funny, we talk about recruiting and the importance of that. Just the other day, 2 days ago, Coach Shanahan had a nice big body that's been here on campus recruiting and coming to visit students. And Jason's already got 5 or 6 recruits on each side, men and women, who have committed to coming here. And the sky is definitely the limit for our track and cross-country programs in the future.
Yeah, and, people don't realize it, but when you go out and get to see these track events either at Clove Lake Park or up in Van Cortlandt Park, it really is much more exciting than you think it's going to be when you get to go up there to watch it.
No, it's one of those. I was actually a track runner in college, so I have a soft spot in my heart for all of our runners. And it's exciting for us now that we're adding track and field, sports that we've never had at the varsity level. And I think with our future plans for a track project here, we could be one of the more competitive programs in the conference easily, and I'm hoping in the region. I would love nothing more than to start sending some of our individual athletes in track on to national events where they can compete and represent our college at NCAAs, at ECACs, at those type of events where we can get some recognition, because running is such a popular sport in our borough. that it's just a natural here. It really fits for us, and it's long overdue that we're having it at the varsity level.
And, of course, our good friend Mike Akalitis, the head coach of the swimming and diving team. If there's a hard ground ball to Galbo, she'll get it over to Mar at second base for the 5-4 force out. As you mentioned, Charles, nice play by Galbo at third base.
Galbo's been a really good defensive player. She's done it at the plate as well for us this year. But at third base, she scoops up a lot of plays and just made that look easy. She without effort makes the play over to second, gets us out of what could have potentially been a little problem putting a runner in scoring position, and now you got one out, and hopefully Nicolette can shut these guys down from here.
So one out as that's grounded back to the mound, played there by Trapani over to second base for one, back to first, double play, and I guess it is a double play. Is that time Greifhalber did not run to first base?
Yeah,
so
I think she pulled up with a little muscle pull there, Mike. She looks like she's walking gingerly as she goes to the dugout. We'll have to send our athletic trainer over to take a look.
So the Dolphins get a double play to get out of their half of the fifth inning. Nothing across now for the Panthers. 4.5 in the books, and the Dolphins lead 4-0. And let's just go back a little bit, Mike, to Charles, to swimming and diving.
Yeah, one of the biggest things that I know Mike would want me to brag about right now is that he's very proud. The last 2 years we've earned, two of his swimmers have earned the CUNY's highest honor, the Scholar Athlete Award. So last year, of course, you had Tim Sweeney win it, and this year Eva won it for our women's team. Talk about the ideal scholar athlete. She has a perfect 4.0 grade point average, Eva, and was the performer of the year in the pool for women's swimming. She's just been everything we could ask for in a scholar athlete, and she was rewarded by CUNY for her achievements. So I know Mike Akalitis is very proud of that.
Oh, and let's turn our attention to, I think, the only sport I missed, which is men's soccer. And, boy, head coach John Tardy has been recruiting great players, but they just can't seem to find a way, Charles, to get over the top.
Yeah, I think the biggest struggle for us last year was just simply scoring goals. We could not seem to put the ball in the back of the net. And I'm hoping that the players that are coming in this year, we've got one player who's been on our campus last year and needed to get himself together academically before he could be ready to play. He's done that. He's going to be eligible for the fall, Carlos Montesinos. And I've watched Carlos perform in the offseason now that he's got himself eligible. And I'm hoping that he's the type of player, and not just Carlos, I don't want to put too much on one player, but as well as the other players that coach is bringing in, I'm hopeful that can help us with the scoring. And if we can figure that piece out, I know John has really built up a program. We talk about being competitive, and that's what they are. He inherited a program that had a lot of growth needed. He's done that. He's addressed that with his recruiting, with his relentless coaching style, with his expectations for the team. And I watch those boys come in and they work. They do the strength and conditioning. They do skill work on their own in the offseason. They're very committed. And I'm hoping that commitment this year will pay off. Wow, nice play by the third baseman here.
Yeah, beautiful play that time by Neenan at third, and she gets it over to Caridi in time for the out. And since the Dolphins scored 4 runs, all with 2 out in their half of the first inning, Lauren Blum has done a great job in shutting this Dolphin team down.
How many hits did we get in the first, Mike?
4.
4 hits. So we have only had 1 hit the rest of the way.
That's right. That was the hit by Severiso in the fourth. So nice job by Lauren Blum coming in and settling down. But for the Dolphins, Nicolette Trapani still with a no-hitter going through 5 innings.
Oh, you just put the jinx on her, Mike. You're never supposed to mention the no-hitter. She's got 2 more to go here, 2 more innings to get through, 6 outs. If a hit comes right now, you're off the broadcast.
I know whose fault it's going to be. As the wide, then the pitch is swung on it, and then Galbo rips that one into right center
all
field.
The wall.
That's going to be a base hit to go to the wall. Galbo doesn't hesitate. She'll round second, and she'll be in third base with a 1-out triple. So Antoinette Galbo continues her hot hitting. Charles, you mentioned it a little bit earlier, but she has just been on fire at the plate over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, you know what? She's a kid who probably goes a little bit under notice because she's not a home run hitter type player. She's a smaller player in stature. She's not going to put one out, but she just put one into right center field, and with her wheel, she ends up turning that to basically standing up on third base with an opportunity to score. And she's got to take it here.
As that's a ground ball to third. The throw to first base is in time, but Galbo comes home and scores easily on the play. So the Dolphins happily trading the out for the run, Charles.
Without a doubt. I know Vanessa Joy is a little disappointed. She probably wanted an extra base hit there or to end up on base herself. But she honestly did what we needed to do. You got to run her on third, knock her in. And with someone like Antoinette on third base with her kind of speed, she was able to come home and score easily on that play, not even a challenge.
Yeah, and, we were wondering why Grice Haber didn't really run down to first base. And our sports information man, Joe Foreman, providing us with the update, a little bit of an ankle injury as that ball's grounded hard to shortstop. The throw by Fucci over to first base in time for the out. But the Dolphins had a run on ahead, and we played 5 innings complete. And the Dolphins lead by a score of 5-0. And, Charles, when you get into these games and the season starts to wind down, it inevitably comes down to 2 things, pitching and defense.
Yeah, it does. And that's why a player like Antoinette is so important for us. She's at that hot corner. She's at third base. And if you can minimize errors, especially from your infielders, you see it when we played a team like Moravian. They play a clean game. They're not going to beat themselves up with mistakes. And if we can to go hopefully to the NCAAs, you can't afford to make mistakes and hope to win ball games in the NCAA tournament. It just doesn't happen. Whether that's on the base paths, in the field, you've got to play as clean a game as possible, and hopefully we can continue to do that as we look to the postseason tournament.
Yeah, and the Dolphins, were poised to do some damage in the NCAA tournament last year, won that first game, and then a couple of heartbreaking losses, and the Dolphin season came to an end. And, Charles, the team does have enough pitching to play effectively in the tournament.
Yeah, we feel like we have 2 real quality starters here with this team. And you know what, Mike, you've seen enough of that. That's enough softball. That's what you need. You pair that with the 2 good pitchers with quality hitting, timely hitting, which I think we could get in that type of postseason environment, and you can give yourself a chance to be successful, and that's all we could ask for right now. But before we can even think about that, we got to get through next week in the CUNY tournament. You never want to take something like that for granted with your team. You hope that you come in, play competitive as possible, get the type of pitching you're getting today from Nicolette. If she pitches like this, not many teams are going to be able to beat us.
Yeah, and you're so right, Charles, because you never know when a bloop single or an error or, a hit batsman will play a key role in these games. So you got to go out and play them. But, this team is very experienced, Charles, and have won a lot of consecutive championships.
No, we have. And that's something that I think you can use to start playing the mental game as well, where if you can get up early on a team, they think to themselves, here we go again, CSI is going to win it again, we can't beat this team. And we need to take advantage of that. Use that mental edge that we have to try to be as successful as possible and give a kid like Nicolette momentum when she starts to pitch and starts to mow teams down. That, we're not going to let you get a hit. We're not going to let you get a dribbler down third and just give up. We're gonna run it down. We're going to toss you out at first. That's the type of team that we are. And hopefully we can continue to do that through next week's CUNY tournament, which for us will be starting here on Friday.
Yeah, so the women's tournament starting on Friday, the men's tournament starting Thursday for the highest seeds at home.
Yeah, we still need to get through the weekend. I was actually just texting with my counterpart at Lehman. Oh, and there's an error that we talked about.
Yeah, so the Barron is going to end up on second base, and we'll wait for the official scoring on the play.
I have to assume that's an error. Yeah, they gave it an error.
So that will be charged an error. So Barron will end up on second base. So, that time Holmes came in and made a nice play on the ball, but a tough throw to first base, and Ma couldn't handle it.
Yeah, you know what? I think she might have rushed the throw a little bit, Mike. It looked like she had more time than I think she realized. If she might have just taken a little bit of time, she probably makes the easy throw to first. Instead, it ends up in the dirt and right through Ma's legs, and not much you could do about that if you're Mar. Kind of a tough throw.
So Otelia Burnell will be the batter. Burnell has struck out twice as she attempts to bunt, pulls the back, and that will even the count up at 1-1. And, Charles, the Dolphins with 4 consecutive doubleheaders coming up here, 3 at home and then on the road against William Patterson. And then the ladies will have 5 days off to get ready for the tournament as that's bunted foul. And the count will go to 1-2. And, what's the team going to do during that week to get themselves ready?
Well, honestly, I want to make sure we can even get our games in. The forecast for tomorrow calls for rain right at game time. The heaviest rain is forecast, which doesn't look too promising for us. But we want to just make sure we can get through this weekend. There's also some question from William Patterson about playing Sunday. based on some conference scheduling requirements that they might have if they have a potential rainout for tomorrow. So that could also impact us. Our hope, though, is just to get in as many games as possible heading into the week and then nurse up whatever injuries we might have. I've seen Jamie Holmes has got a little bit of a banged-up lower body injury. I've seen her limping around a little bit here, so you hope she gets treatment in the week, comes into the CUNY tournament healthy. Give yourself your pitchers a chance to get healthy as well. They put a lot of wear and tear on those arms, on that shoulder, on those elbows during the year. You want them icing, prepping, all in preparation for, nice strikeout there by Nicolette. Big strikeout there to get the first out of the inning with the runner on second in scoring position.
Yeah, so that'll bring up the pitcher, Lauren Blum. Blum 0 for 2, struck out and fly to right. So no balls, 1 strike now, the count on Blum. And the pitch is taken for a strike, 0-2.
Yeah, 2 quick strikes, Mike. Really good sign for Nicolette. Hopefully she can put up a second out here, minimize the threat of the runner on second.
So no balls, 2 strikes the count. The wind and the 0-2 is down low for a ball, and that's going to run the count now to 1-2. So the Dolphins playing down the stretch of the season, coming in with a record of 16-10. And you mentioned, Charles, the tough start that they had in that preseason tournament. But, one of the things that Coach Porter has been doing a good job of doing is that pitch is inside for a ball, and that's going to run the count. I have 2-2.
It should be 2-2, I believe, right?
Yeah, that's what I have.
We get a check on our scoreboard. I think it's 2-2.
Yeah, so the scoreboard has 2-1, and the wind and the pitch is swung and grounded hard and foul.
Well, either way, we're at 2-2 now, Mike.
Yeah, so that'll run the count even now to 2-2. And Charles, as the teams get ready and the NCAA tournament possibly becomes a bid, and sometimes fans are curious as to how that process works. You basically just wait on Monday and wait for the phone call to be told where to go, or is there things happening in the background that people don't necessarily see?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately you're waiting. Another nice strikeout there by Nicolette on the 2-2 pitch. Gets the second out. So hopefully she can get out of this inning without surrendering a hit and making you the jinx for the no-hitter today. But, yeah, Mike, fortunately for us, we've had a nice amount of experience with the NCAAs the last 5 years that I've been here, whether it's our women's soccer, men's, women's basketball, softball. We've even had some tennis teams that have made it in my earlier years. But there is definitely some behind-the-scenes politicking that goes on. I'd be lying if I said otherwise. If you ask anyone, they'll tell you it doesn't happen, but it does. And you try to get a sense of where you might end up, where the committee's going to send you. Oh, we got to throw down to second off the base runner, and she's going to advance to third there, Mike. Yeah,
so that time the Dolphins taking a throw down to second, trying to get the pick off. Instead, they will commit the error. I believe that will be charged an error. And, if there's one concern you have, Charles, heading into the tournament, Dolphins have been committing a lot of errors in the field lately.
No, Mike, and I don't mean to we just talked about it, though. I don't mean to give these girls any bad luck, but we just discussed the fact that you can't have these type of errors. Now, we get out of it right there with a nice strikeout by Nicolette, but if you're playing a team in the NCAA regionals, you may have a difficult time and give up 2 runs off of 2 errors, and you just can't afford to do that if you hope to win. So we're going to need to clean up ourselves defensively as well as on the base paths. I've seen 1 or 2 times this year where there's been questions in judgment on the base paths and advancing when you might not need to necessarily advance. You get yourself thrown out, and you minimize your chance to score runs, and you just don't want to do that if you're hoping to win an NCAA tournament game.
Yeah, how many times, Charles, have we seen teams get 2 runners on without a hit or bunt the ball down in front of the plate and then end up standing on second base?
Yep.
And, when you're playing these quality teams, you just can't afford to do that. And, you look at the Dolphins playing number 6 and had an opportunity to tie and win that game in the later innings. In game number 2, the first 3 innings, they play cleanly. They start throwing the ball around, and before you know it, you're down 8-0, and you just can't make errors against teams that can make you pay for them.
No, and you know what? Within our conference, sometimes we're able to take advantage of teams that make mistakes, and we're on that end where we're able to put up 8 quick runs off of a couple of errors from teams. So we've been on both sides. In that first game against Moravian, we did play a really clean game. The one thing I noticed, we got thrown out at third, I think with nobody out, and it was as just after we had scored a run to make it 2-1. So we had a little momentum, get thrown out at third, and that's a tough pill to swallow because you have a runner in scoring position, you had a couple of big bats coming up, and you kill any opportunity you have to have a rally and tie the game or potentially even take the lead. So those are the types of things we need to avoid going into the CUNY tournament and hopefully into nationals. Just smart softball. You got to play smart, fundamental softball, and hopefully our team's able to do that starting next week.
Yeah, and we say it all the time, especially in baseball and softball. If you make the out, you have a chance of making. You put yourself in such a great position to win these games.
Yeah, and sometimes, Mike, you know what? It's funny. It might not even necessarily be an error. It could be you bobble a cutoff throw just enough that the runner can advance. They see something that they're able to take that chance and run home on a play where they might have stayed at third otherwise. So you just need to play a totally clean softball game, and hopefully that's what we can do. We've seen that we do have the ability to do it in a game like Moravian defensively. We played very well. So hopefully that's something that we can continue to improve on as we look to wrap up these last couple of weeks of the spring softball season.
As Olson takes that pitch down low for a ball, I believe the count is 2-1, and it is.
Yep.
As it's Olson, Quintella, and Severiso here in the bottom half of the 6th inning. As she hits that one hard, it's going to be played there by Skelly, and she gets it over to Corretti in time for the out. So 1 up, 1 down, and a nice job by Lauren Blum here, Charles. She really struggled in the first inning with 2 outs, giving up 4 consecutive runs, but didn't allow that to affect her, and really has allowed just a run and 2 hits since the first inning.
No, really a great job showing some poise because as I'm walking in, I'm saying, okay, 4-0. Ooh, a little bloop single there by Quintella.
As Juliana picks up her second hit of the afternoon, she's now 2 for 3, and with 1 out and a runner at first base, it'll bring up Christina Severiso. And Severiso really struggling with the bat early in the year, Charles, but she's 2 for 2 this afternoon with an RBI, and really has started to elevate her batting average. You
know what, Mike? I think kids like Cece and Jules, they could be keys to our postseason because they hit a little bit lower in the lineup, but they've got ability. They've had ability to play since they were young kids. They played in high school, were very successful high school players, and they may not have the numbers that they want right now, but they've got the potential. Ooh, throw down to first base, but she's going to be safe there first, sliding back into the bag with Quintella. But these kids have potential to really add something to our lineup, and if they can be dangerous at the bottom, it really could give us more of a threat to score offensively.
So 1-1 the count with 1 out, and the pitch is skied up in the air in the right field. As coming over is the center fielder, Barron. She can't make the play, and going all the way over to third base on the play will be Quintella. And, boy, Charles, we knew that Grace Haber was a little gimpy in right field, but she cannot move at all.
No, Mike, I thought she was playing under the, calling the fair catch there, basically like in football. But she wasn't moving because she physically can't move.
Yeah, boy. So the Dolphins able to take advantage now with runners at second and third with 1 out, and Allison Marr is going to come in and pinch hit. And, boy, Charles, you talk about a player that really stepped in and really started to pitch for the Dolphins in the middle of last year and really came on strong, and a player that the Dolphins have looked to, Allison Marr, has really helped save the Dolphin pitching staff, especially in 2018.
Without question, Mike. She started last year a lot slower than I know she wanted. She was coming off of, I believe, an ankle injury. Wasn't able to start a lot of games early. But like you mentioned, midway through the year, started to make some appearances. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think she had the win against Moravian last year when we split with them. I believe she was the winning pitcher that day. Pitched well in our postseason. And she's just solid all the way around when she's in the circle. And a little bit of a danger when she's at the plate as well. I think she's gone deep at least 2 times this year, if I recall. And one of those was a bomb on the road, I think, against Hunter.
It was.
So she's shown some ability at the plate.
Yeah, she damaged one of the parents' cars in the parking lot on that blast, Charles. And then her other home run, of course, was here at the CSI softball complex. As that ball is deep,
wow,
and that
Mike,
ball is gone.
Mike.
So Allison Marr hits her third home run of the year, and that's the kind of power that she has, and that's what gives her the ability to be such a difference maker, Charles, especially in the postseason.
And just like that, Mike, it's 8-0.
And that's going to wrap up.
And she saved you, Mike.
Game number one. And, Charles, the Nicolette Trapani picks up the no-hitter.
No-hitter for Nicolette, despite your jinx effort that you threw on her today. But Coach Porto with the pinch hit, she must have felt something there. And we were just talking about her power at the plate. No sooner do we get the words out of her mouth than she's going deep to the deepest part of the ballpark, right over the 220 sign in center field. An absolute blast by Ali Marr.
Dan, we mentioned before how the inability to field could come back and hurt you, and there the Panthers had a chance to get an out in right field. Instead, Marr comes up. She drills her third home run of the year, and she picks up her RBIs number 10 and 11 and 12, and the Dolphins mercy Old Westbury in game number one, Charles, by a final score of 8-0. So a good start for the Dolphins here in what will hopefully be their first of 8 games over the next 4 days.
Yeah, that's the hope. And you know what? It's interesting today. You start off with the 4 runs in the first inning, and then we go through that little stretch of a few innings where we can't get a hit. We're complimenting the pitcher, and then boom, just like that, a quick error and then a show of power by Marr, and we're out of this game with the mercy 8-0.
So the College of Staten Island winning this game by a final score of 8-0. So what we'll do is step aside and we'll take a break for about 20, 25 minutes, and then we'll get you ready for the start of the second game. Charles, thank you as always for coming by, and we are looking for color on game number 2 if you are available.
I'll see if I can make myself available for the rest of this one. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Charles. That's Athletic Director Charles Gomes, nice enough to join us here at the conclusion of game number 1. And we have an opportunity to run through the circle of all the different CSI sports, and a lot of excitement for the year that's gone by and a lot of excitement for the upcoming year as well, and still a lot of athletics remaining here in 2018. So that's going to wrap things up here in game number 1. The Dolphins win by a final score of 8-0. We'll step aside. We'll go off the air for a few minutes, and then we'll be back to get you ready for the start of game number 2 as you're watching women's softball coverage on your voice of everything CSI Sports, CSI Sportsnet, CSIDolphins.com. We're back, and we're getting ready now for the start of game number 2 between the College of Staten Island and the Old Westbury Panthers. If you might have joined us late, the College of Staten Island won game number 1 by a final score of 8-0. Nicolette Trapani picking up the 6-inning no-hitter. She walked 3 and struck out 11. She ups her record to 8-6 on the year. The big blow that wrapped up the game for the Dolphins, a 3-run pinch hit home run by Allison Marr that upped the 5-0 Dolphin lead to a final score of 8-0. The Dolphins scored 4 runs in their half of the first inning, all coming with 2 outs, and then it turned into a bit of a pitcher's duel in the middle innings, but the Dolphins get a run in the 5th and 3 in the 6th as they go on to win this game by a final score of 8-0. You see Allison Marr, who hit that home run, her 3rd home run of the year, pinch hitting in the 6th, out on the mound getting ready to warm up, as she will be the starting pitcher in game number 2, as Allison looks to continue the Dolphin winning streak here this afternoon. Marr coming in with a record of 8-4 on the year, a 2.78 ERA. This is going to be her 14th appearance, her 13th start. She has 9 complete games in 68 innings. She's allowed 63 hits, 42 runs, but just 27 of them earned. She's walked 21 and struck out 39. So Marr will be going for her 9th win here this afternoon. And here is the lineup she will be facing for the Old Westbury Panthers here in game number 2. In left field and leading off, Attilia Burnell. Lauren Blum will be the shortstop in game number 2, batting 2nd. Amelia Caridi at first base, batting 3rd. Amanda Fucci will be at 3rd base, batting 4th. Samantha Arcasi will catch and bat 5th. Katie Skelly at second base will bat 6th, as the first attempt by Burnell is bunted foul for a strike, and the count goes to 0-1 on the senior left fielder. Batting 7th will be the center fielder in game number 2, Amanda Neenan. Kristen Gershaber will be in right field once again, and she's really hobbled out there in the outfield. And batting 9th and pitching will be Nicole Barron in game number 2. So the College of Staten Island picking up their 5th win in a row here in game number 1 as they beat the Panthers by a final score of 8-0, and looking to sweep the doubleheader here is Vanessa Joya, working on a little bit of equipment.
All right, Tilly, start it off, kid.
So the Panthers dropped their record to 12-11 on the year. The Dolphins up their record now to 17-10. Dolphins playing better softball and really looking to go into the tournament on a high note in what is the first, hopefully, of 4 consecutive doubleheaders, including Senior Day, when the Dolphins wrap up their regular season conference schedule this Saturday afternoon here at the CSI Softball Complex beginning at 12 o'clock. A 1 pitch is a swing and a miss, and Burnell falls behind in the count now at 0-2. Lauren Blum will be at shortstop in game number 2. She's on deck as that pitch is taken down low for a ball, and that's going to run the count now to 1-2. So 1 ball, 2 strikes to count as Marr winds the 1-2. It's swung on, hit check swing in front of the plate, played there by Marr. The throw over to first base will not be in time, as that ball goes off the glove of Trapani, and that's going to be scored, a base hit, as that time Burnell just kind of had a swinging bunt on the play. It rolled back to Marr. She got the ball over to first base, but Burnell able to get down. It's going to be an infield hit, a leadoff hit, and that's going to bring up the shortstop now for the Panthers, Lauren Blum. Lauren was 0 for 3 in game number 1 and struck out twice. First pitch taken up high for a ball, 1-0. As that ball is swung on, hit towards third, Galbo plays the throw over to second for 1. As Marr makes the play, and that will be all they get on the force out. So Blum grounds out 5-4. She'll go down to first base with 1 out now. And that's going to bring up the first baseman, Amelia Caridi. Caridi, the first baseman in both games here tonight, went 0 for 3 in game number 1 and takes the first pitch for a ball, 1-0. The wind and the pitch. Take it for a ball, and the count goes to 2-0. That was a close pitch, but ruled the ball, so the count goes to 2-0. Pitch on the outside corner for a strike. Count goes to 2-1. Ball looking in for the sign. And the pitch is a swing and a miss, and that's going to even the count up now at 2-2. Just underway, game number 2. But now with a leadoff infield single, she's on first base with 1 out, and the count 1-2 on Caridi. The wind and the pitch. Taken up high for a ball. That'll even the count up now. Or sorry, run it full to 3-2. Three balls, 2 strikes, 1 out here. The wind and the 3-2 is off the outside corner for a ball 4. So the Panthers now with runners at first and second here in the top half of the first inning, and they have not gotten the ball past the pitcher's mound as they get an infield single and a base on balls, and now have 2 runners on with 1 out, and that'll bring up the third baseman, Amanda Fucci. First pitch is taken for a ball, 1-0. Fucci went 0 for 1 and a walk in game number 1. Ball taking a long time looking in for the sign. The 1-0 is taken down low for a ball, and the count goes to 2-0. The wind and the 2-0 up high, and the count goes to 3-0. The wind and the 3-0 up high for a ball, so Ma losing the strike zone, and now the bases are loaded for the Panthers, who have yet to get a base hit outside of the infield. So Joya will go out and have a word now with Allison Marr, as it'll be catcher Samantha Arcasi, the bat. As the Panthers here with a swinging single bunt back to the mound as that swung out of grounded to second. Played there by Marr. The throw to the plate is in time for the force, as Marr chooses to come home and get the force at the plate. So Arcasi will reach on a fielder's choice 4-2 to first. And now with the bases loaded and 2 outs, it'll be the second baseman, Katie Skelly. And that first pitch is taken for a strike, 0-1. Skelly 0 for 1 and a walk in game number 1, as the Panthers try to break up on top here in game number 2. The wind and the pitch is swung, and that's blooped over the head of Trapani, and that's going to be in for a base hit. As a run comes home to score, as Skelly lifted that one over Trapani down the right field line, Caridi will come home to score. The runners will move up, and the Panthers have their first lead of the afternoon and lead by a score of 1-0. So that's going to bring up the center fielder now, Amanda Neenan. The wind and the pitch is swung on, and that's blooped into left field. It's going to be a tough play, and that's going to be in for a base hit. Couple of runs will come around to score as De Leon dove for that ball in left field. She could not come up with it, and the Panthers lead by a score of 3-0. They haven't hit the ball hard once here in this first inning. So it's going to be a 2-out RBI double for Noonan, and the Panthers lead 3-0. Here in the top half of the first inning, Burnell got it started with a swinging bunt single as Mott threw the ball off the glove of Trapani, and it was scored a base hit. Ma was able to work her way to get 2 runners out with the bases loaded, but an RBI single for Skelly and a 2-out, 2-run RBI double for Noonan. And the Panthers take a 3-0 lead here early in game number 2. So the Dolphins not getting off to the kind of start they want, and, it goes back, and we talked a little bit about it with Athletic Director Charles Gomes in game number 1. You can't afford to give teams free bases, and a couple of walks in the top half of the first inning have opened the door for the Panthers, and they've been able to take advantage of it, and they lead 3-0. As the 8th batter to bat, Christian Greishaber takes a strike, 0-1. The wind and the pitch. Low for a ball, and that's going to run the count to 1-1. Greishaber, the 8th Panther to bat here in the top half of the first. The wind and the pitch. Ma way off on that one. And that'll run the count now to 2-1. Ma looking in for the sign. The 2-1 is going to be a swing and a miss, and that'll even the count up now at 2-2. So Noonan hit a bloop fly ball down the left field line. De Leon went all out for it. The ball went off her glove, and the Panthers take a 3-0 lead as Ma comes back to strike out Greishaber for the 3rd out. But not before the Panthers score 3 on 3 hits. They leave a couple on, half inning in the books. Panthers 3, Dolphins coming to bat. We'll step aside, take a break, and we'll be right back. We're back getting ready for the bottom half of the first inning. The Dolphins find themselves down by a score of 3-0 in a game where the Panthers really didn't hit Allison very hard in the first, but they got that leadoff infield single, then a couple of walks to load the bases, and then a bloop single down the right field line and a bloop double down the left field line give the Panthers a 3-0 lead. So the Dolphins are going to have to work their way back here in game number 2. And here will be the Dolphins starting lineup. Patricia Riches will lead off playing shortstop. Antoinette Galbo at third, batting second. Vanessa Joya catching and batting third. Jamie Holmes will DH here in game number 2 and bat fourth. As Barron winds and her first pitch is taken for a ball 1-0. De Leon will play left field and bat fifth. Allison Barr will be pitching and batting sixth. Christina Severino in center field batting seventh as the pitch is taken for a strike, 1-1 on Riches. Juliana Quintella will be in right field batting eighth. Christian Barr will be at second base batting ninth. And Nicolette as Riches takes that one for a strike, and the count goes to 1-2. Riches went 0 for 3 in game number 1, including her second strikeout leading off the game. As that time she swings and drips that one into left field. If it's fair, it's trouble, and it is. And it goes down the left field line. Riches makes a big turn at second, but a good start for the Dolphins here in their half of the first inning as Riches lines a double down the left field line, and the Dolphins are in business now with nobody out, and that'll bring up the third baseman, Antoinette Galbo. Galbo 1 for 3 in a run in game number 1. As Galbo shows bunt, pulls the bat back, and takes the ball 1-0.
Watch little here, watch little here.
Galbo went 1 for 3 in the first game for the Dolphins, and the pitch is swung on and fouled back up over the dugout and out of play, and that's going to even the count up at 1-1.
Missed it by
Nicole Barron on the mound for the Panthers as that pitch is swung on and popped up towards the first base dugout, but just inside the dugout and out of play. And now Galbo falls behind in the count at 1-2. Getting you Nicole Barron's numbers, 4 and 5 on the year, a 2.93 ERA. This is her 11th appearance, 10th start. She has 9 complete games and a shutout. The pitch is a swing and a miss, strike 3. Nice pitch that time by Blum to get the first out of the inning, and that'll bring up the third place hitter, Vanessa Joya. Finishing the line for Nicole Barron, as that's a hard line drive. It's played by the second baseman and thrown over to first in time for the out, as Riches is able to advance to third base. So Joya hit that ball hard, but a nice play.
Goes that glove again.
And now there'll be 2 outs and a runner on third base, and that's going to bring up the designated player, Jamie Holmes. So a hard line drive hit by Joya, but right at the second baseman. And now Holmes lines that into center field, and that will be in for a base hit. So Riches will come home to score. Jamie Holmes continues her hot hitting for the Dolphins, and the Dolphins have cut the Panther lead now to a score of 3-1. So now Holmes will be at first base with 2 outs, and that's going to bring out Gabrielle De Leon. De Leon's average at .365, 19 of 52 with 17 RBIs. Did not play in game number 1 and takes a strike, 0-1. That ball hit hard towards the second baseman. It's going to be played there and a step over to second base in time for the final out of the inning. So Skelly able to play that one at second, and the Dolphins are retired. A run, 2 hits. They leave a runner, 1 in the books. Dolphins trail 3-1. We'll step aside, take a break, and be right back. We're back, and we're getting ready for the top half of the second inning. The Dolphins trailing in this game by a score of 3-1. The wind and the pitch is swung on and fouled off, and the count goes to 0-1. Cole Barron leading off here for the Panthers in their half of the second inning. She was 0 for 1 in a walk in game number 1 for the Panthers. And the pitch. It's taken on the outside corner for a strike, 0-2. No balls, 2 strikes to count, and the pitch is swung on and fouled back, and the count holds at 0-2. Doubleheader schedule with New Jersey City University tomorrow. John Jay in the Senior Day Conference Final for the Dolphins, and then Sunday, William Patterson, as things currently stand on the schedule. As that pitch is down low for a ball to Barron, and the count goes to 1-2. One ball, 2 strikes, and the pitch. Outside for a ball, that's going to even the count up at 2-2. Two balls, 2 strikes to count. As Ma looks in for the side. The 2-2 is swung on and fouled off, and the count holds at 2-2. CSI baseball team scheduled to finish out the year with a pair of doubleheaders this weekend. Lehman College on Saturday and Shiva University this Sunday. That will wrap up the regular season for the Dolphins. As that pitch is up high for a ball, and now Barron works the count full to 3-2. As Ma having a little bit of problem with the strike zone here early in game number 2. And that pitch is swung on, hit hard to short, played there on a hop by Riches, and she gets it over to Trapani in time for the out. 1 up, 1 down here for the Panthers in their half of the second. And that's going to bring up Artelia Bernal. Bernal had an infield single in the first. She's 1 for 1 here in game number 2. Ma winds the first pitch, a swing and a miss, strike 1. No balls, 1 strike to count. And the 0-1 is down low for a ball. That'll even the count up at 1-1. One ball, 1 strike, 1 out. And the pitch is swung on and blooped up in the air. And Joya able to get a glove on it, but not able to hold on to it. So it'll be a foul ball, and the count will go to 1-2. One ball, 2 strikes, 1 out, and the pitch is taken for a ball, and that'll even the count up at 2-2. So Ma has gotten herself in a little bit of trouble here, as that's going to be a swing and a miss, strike 3. So that time Burnell probably went chasing on ball 4, but Ma picks up the strikeout, her second of the game. And now with 2 out, no one on, that will bring up the shortstop, Lauren Blum. Lauren forced out at second in the first. She's 0 for 1. Ma looking in for the sign. And the pitch. She's taken for a strike, 0-1. Dolphins have won their last 5 games, up in their record to a season high, 7 games over 500. Ma did a nice take off that one. Count goes now to 0-2. No balls. Drilled right up the middle. That's going to be in for a base hit. Good job of hitting by Blum as she drills that one right back through the pitcher's circle into center field. So a 2-out single will bring up the first baseman, Amelia Caridi. Caridi walked and scored in the first. So now it'll be a runner on first base. 2 outs here for the Panthers in their half of the second inning. The 4th hit for Old Westbury. And Caridi will be the batter. Ma winds the first pitch. Is taken for a strike, 0-1. Ma stepping back in the circle. Now she's back on the rubber and ready. The 0-1 is down low for a ball. That's going to even the count up at 1-1. Lights are on here at the CSI Softball Complex. Nice early evening as that pitch is taken for a strike and the count goes to 1-2. So now Ma looking in for the sign. And the pitch is taken, strike 3 call. So Ma has struck out 3, no runs, a hit, 1 left, 1.5 in the books. Dolphins trail by a score 3-1. We'll step aside, take a break, and be right back. We're back, and we're getting ready now for the bottom half of the second inning. The Dolphins trailing this game by a score of 3-1. It'll be Allison Maher, Christina Severiso, and Juliana Quatella, the 6, 7, and 8 hitters for the Dolphins. Here in inning number 2, they find themselves trailing here by a score of 3-1. So Maher leading off. Takes the first pitch for a strike, 0-1. Maher ended game number 1 with a 3-run home run. And she falls behind in the count, 0-2. Sure, Maher's thinking, where are those pitches when I'm in the circle? As she's down in the count now, 0-2, and the pitch is a swing and a miss, strike 3. So Barron picks up her second strikeout. Marr strikes out leading off the second, and that's going to bring up the center fielder, Christina Severiso. Christina had a good game in game number 1, going 3 for 3 with a run and an RBI. And the first pitch is on the outside corner for a strike, 0-1. The pitch is inside for a ball. That'll even the count up at 1-1. So's foot, and she falls behind in the count now at 1-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out now. And the pitch is swung, and that's drilled into right center field, and that's going to be in there for a base hit. So Severiso's hot hitting continues. She now has 4 hits on the afternoon, and with 1 out and a runner at first base, that's going to bring up the right fielder, Juliana Cretella. Juliana also had a good game in game number 1, going 2 for 3. She scored 2 runs and drove in a run. And the first pitch is taken for a strike, 0-1. Barron winds, and the 0-1 is taken outside. That's going to even the count up at 1-1.
Come on, Nick. You got this, kid. Come on now.
The 1-1 pitch outside for a ball, and now Cretella falls or gets ahead in the count, 2-1. The wind and the pitch is swung on, and that's drilled right up the middle. That's going to be in for a base hit. The center fielder was played all the way over to right center, and that's going to allow runners to get into second and third base, as that should be a double on the play. As Cretella hit that one really just about straight up through the middle, but the center fielder was shaded way over in right center field. That allowed Severiso to easily make it to third base. Cretella goes down to second base. And now with 2 on and 1 out, that's going to bring up the second baseman, Christian Marr. Marr coming in batting 111 on the year, 4 for 36, and she gets ahead in the count now at 1-0. The wind and the pitch is bunted in front of the plate, and that's going to allow Marr to reach it down to first base on the fielder's choice. As that time, Barron spent too much time looking the runner back to third base. And by the time she went to first, it was too late. And now the Dolphins have loaded the bases with 1 out, and that's going to bring up the shortstop, Patricia Riches, in a position to do some damage here for the Dolphins tonight. Patricia doubled in the first. She's 1 for 1 in game number 2 after going 0 for 3 in game number 1, as Old Westbury's going to come out as Rich Borowski going out to the mound, and they're going to talk it over with the bases loaded and the very dangerous Patricia Riches coming up to bat here for the Dolphins. After starting out slowly, driving in runs, Richards now has her RBI total up to 16, most of it coming from that leadoff spot. She hit her 13th double leading off game number 2. She has 2 triples and 2 home runs as well. And the Dolphins looking to get themselves right back into the game here in the bottom half of the second. The wind, the first pitch, outside for a ball, 1-0. Big moment in the game coming up for the right-hander, Nicole Barron. The pitch taken right down the middle for a strike. That's going to even the count up at 1-1. Nice pitch that time by Barron. The wind and the pitch. Outside for a ball, so now Rich's edge is ahead in the count at 2-1. As Rich's puts her hands up for time, the umpire really didn't give it to her. And Barron stopped a windup, and I don't know, that could be a balk on the play there. I'm not sure. As what Rich's called time, the ump never gave it to her. And then it looked like Barron kind of went through her motion and stopped. I don't see any signal by the umpire, so I guess it's going to be 2-1 as she swings and drives that one up the middle. That's going to be in for a base hit. That's going to tie up the game as Quintella will come home to score. Riches goes to second on the throw. It's going to be a single and 2 RBIs for Patricia Riches, and the College of Staten Island have tied this game up at 3 apiece, still in a position to do more damage here with runners at second and third and just 1 out. So Antoinette Galbo will be the batter. Galbo struck out in the first. She's 0 for 1. The wind and the first pitch to Galbo. She bunts on and misses. And the count goes to 0-1. As Ma able to get back into third base. Not sure what Ma was looking to do on that play. But Galbo down in the count 0-1, and that pitch is high for a ball, and the count goes to 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 runs in for the Dolphins. We're tied at 3 as that pitch is bunted foul. Boy, oh boy, and as the umpire's going to call Galbo out, that was just a terrible call. She was in the batter's box. But nonetheless, she'll be called out on the play for the second out. So Galbo called out for the ball hitting her. And that'll bring up Joya, as now the Dolphins will need a 2-out single to take the lead here in the bottom of the second. That pitch is swung, that's drilled into right field, and that's going to be in for a base hit. That ball is going to roll all the way to the wall. Joya around second. She's going to head into third. It's going to be a triple for Joya and 2 RBIs, and the College of Staten Island takes a 5-0 lead as Joya drills that one in between the hole, in between first and second. And, we mentioned earlier Grice Haber having trouble making a fast move on the ball. She couldn't get it. The center fielder had to come all the way over and play that ball. That was Amanda Neenan. And by the time she did it, 2 runs had scored. Joya ends up at third base, and the Dolphins lead 5-3. And that'll bring up Jamie Holmes. Holmes already singled and drove home a run. As that ball is blooped towards shortstop, and coming over to play that will be Blum for the final out. So the Dolphins score 4. They take a 5-3 lead here as 2 innings are in the books. We'll step aside, take a break, and we'll be right back. We're back, and we're getting ready now for the top half of the third inning. The Dolphins, with 4 runs in their half of the second inning, turn around a 3-0 deficit and now lead by a score of 3-0. So now Allison Marr with her first opportunity to pitch in front here in game number 2. It's going to be 4, 5, and 6 for the Panthers as that first pitch is taken for a strike. 0-1 as Amanda Fucci, the third baseman, will lead off. Amanda walked and scored in the first for the Panthers. And the pitch is swung on and fouled off, and now Marr gets ahead in the count, 0-2. And it'll be interesting to see how Marr comes out and pitches here after the Dolphins regain the lead in their half of the second inning. You know she wants to get the Dolphins right back into the dugout. The wind and the pitch is swung on, and that's blooped into right field, and that's going to be in there and thrown out. A beautiful play that time as Quintella came up throwing and is able to gun Fucci out for the first out. And I was about to call it a base hit, but Juliana Quintella came in hard and gunned her out for the first out. 9-3 on the putout, 1 out, nobody on, and that's going to bring up the catcher, Samantha Arcisi. Samantha grounded into a fielder's choice in the first. She's 0 for 1. The pitch is a swing and a miss, strike 1. Nice play that time by Quintella to get the leadoff runner here in the top half of the third. The wind and the pitch, and that's going to be fouled off, 0-2. We're about 24 minutes or so from the NFL draft, and don't worry, you can stay right here on CSI Sports. That will bring you the updated picks. Joe Foreman will be giving us the updates. Giants drafting second, Joe's Jets drafting third. So a lot of excitement here. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to make pick number 24 for the Panthers, so Tom's going to have to go home before he gets to see his beloved Panthers make their first pick here tonight. The wind and the pitch is going to be fouled off. Now with 2 out, nobody on, and Katie Skelly will be the batter. So 2 out, no one on, as Skelly now down in the count, 0-1. The wind and the 0-1 is taken for a ball. That's going to even the count up at 1-1. One ball, 1 strike, 2 out, no one on. Top half of the third. Dolphins 5, Panthers 3. The pitch, a swing and a miss, 1-2.
Don't lunge at it, kid. Let it get there. Let it get there and drive it. Let's go now.
1 ball, 2 strikes now. Marr winds the 1-2. Swung on, grounded to second base. Played there by Marr. Over to Trapani in time for the final out of the third inning. So Marr has retired the last 4. Nothing across for the Panthers in their half of the third. We'll step aside, take a break. Dolphins leading this one by a score of 5-3. You're watching women's softball coverage on your voice of everything CSI Sports, CSI Sportsnet, CSIDolphins.com. We're back getting ready for the bottom half of the third inning. The Dolphins lead in this game by a score of 5-3. They fell behind 3-0, but have come back with a run in the first and 4 in the second to take a 5-3 lead. And while the Dolphins get ready to bat in the bottom half of the third inning, we're thrilled to be joined by head men's basketball coach TJ Tibbs. TJ, welcome to CSI Sportsnet.
Thanks for having me, Mike.
You know, it was such a phenomenal year for you guys, such an exciting year. 2-point win in the CUNYAC tournament. Big game down in Cabrini, a game that really could have gone either way. How do you feel the first season went as head coach for the basketball team?
I thought it went good. It was great for our seniors, Eden Bratchett and Ray Savage, to go out with a CUNY championship. Disappointing end to the season. We did have a goal from the beginning to not only make the tournament, but to put ourselves in a position to win a game and to hopefully, win another game or something like that. But, we played as well as we could. The game came down to the end. It could have went either way, and it just didn't work out for us that day. But, overall, our kids did a great job. They're great citizens of the community of College of Staten Island. They've improved as men, and I couldn't be more proud of that.
TJ, the team had such an exciting year. You went 12-4 in conference play and 3 unbelievable wins in the CUNYAC tournament. And, it really was a undersized team, but a team that would never say die. And, you really saw that in the NCAA game, falling behind late in the second half, but coming to take the lead with under 2 minutes to go in that game against Cabrini.
I think the team took on the personality of the older guys, Stephen Flagg, Rob Rossiter. We knew we were going to be undersized, especially when a couple of guys who had eligibility left to come back decided not to come back. We knew we were going to have to figure it out. And from day one of practice, when we got together, these guys just knew that they wanted to fight. And it took us a while to get together and figure out what type of identity our team was going to have, but you could see as the season was going on that they bought into everything that was going on, and that enabled us to have a pretty good season.
As the season went along, you really saw a tremendous amount of growth out of Christian Taylor. He, really seemed to pick up a lot of confidence offensively in distributing the basketball. And, of course, as an old point guard from the CSI Dolphins team, what did you see out of Christian, especially as the season went along?
That he's extremely coachable, that he wants to be great, that nothing is ever good enough. And he's a shy kid. For somebody who's a pretty good basketball player, he's a reserved kid. So we put a lot of onus on him to be a leader and to take responsibility of being one of the better players on the team. And, the biggest thing is somebody like Stephen Flagg, who had his opportunity to start and to play a lot of minutes, he's the number one guy in the locker room telling Christian that nobody out there is better than him. And when you have confidence from your teammates and things like that, then it just makes everything easier. So the kid works really hard, just like everybody else on our team. But, he enabled himself to have a pretty special sophomore season.
The team had so many standouts, but sophomore Adiola Atunji really broke onto the scene and, really shows so much ability. He could hit the mid-range jumper. He's able to take the ball to the basket. And, it's a long first season for these kids. NCAA Division III basketball conference. What do you expect from Adiola as he continues to improve in the future?
More everything. He's another kid that has very high expectations for himself. When I walked in Monday morning, Adiola and Christian, they were in the weight room, and I told them specifically to not do anything on their own for 3 weeks or so. But Adiola's a hardworking kid. He got off to a great start. Then scouting reports came out, and then he got welcomed to college basketball with people playing his tendencies, and he went into a little dip. But then he had a run where he had 4 or 5 straight 20-point games. He started to find his groove, and he started to realize where he could score in a college basketball game. But the one thing that's underrated about him is that he plays phenomenal defense. He needs to play better defense by my accord, but he plays really hard, and he's somebody that we're counting on next year to probably guard the other team's best player.
Coach, as the seasons change, of course, the lineups always change as well, as that's going to be a single into right center field now by Marr, and the Dolphins will have the runners on the corners, and now old Westbury throws the ball away, and Actually, that time Severiso gets tripped and tagged out at the plate, and we'll see what the officials call right here as head coach Stella Porto is going to come out and have a word, and basically Severiso went around third, crashed into the old Westbury player, and then was tagged out at the plate for the final out. So the umpires are out on the field talking about it, and why they sort that out on the field, TJ, it'll give us a little more chance to talk about this men's basketball team. And they came in, you guys came into the season, and you lost, of course, the great Frankie Shatito playing point guard, but the team really came out and really played well and really played with a lot of intensity and a lot of desire defensively, and you had to be satisfied with the work ethic of this team.
The work ethic is tremendous. Their receptiveness to coaching was tremendous, and I think with any team that supersedes talent. Talent levels will dip or go higher year by year, but they really wanted to be coached, and they worked very, very hard. So because of that, we were able to gel as the season went on, and I even felt the one disappointing thing about the end of the season was that I felt like we were still getting better. So you feel like you're leaving something on the table because the season's over so soon, but I'm in the Cabrini game and the NCAA tournament, and you're like, wow, you see kids doing things I've been trying to ask them to do all year. Somebody like Rigo Desteam, who had a very up-and-down freshman year, probably didn't think he was going to get into the NCAA tournament game. He came on, and he was right in the middle of the run that put us back into the game. So it's just an amazing thing. The guys are really close. They're really tough on each other, and because of that work ethic and that being the DNA of our team and our program, it should enable us to have some consistent success going into the future.
And as we go into the future, what are the returning players that you're really excited about heading into the 2018 season?
Well, everybody knows about Christian and Adiola, but Robert Rossett is somebody that when we met at the end of the season, I apologized to him. He was in so much foul trouble because he was playing 2 or 3 spots out of position. He's playing a 5. He's really a 3-man, and he sacrificed his body and his play for the good of the team. And, yeah, we wanted to exploit some mismatches on the other end with him being guarded by 5s, but there was a lot of games where he couldn't get into a rhythm because he was in foul trouble. I think that nobody has seen how good Rob Rossett could be and how important he is to our program. Then you have somebody like Stephen Flagg, who's the heart and soul of our team and still figuring out how good he is. He's our best passer. He may lead our team in assists next year because he has such phenomenal vision and he's so unselfish. And then you have younger guys. Rigo Desteam is a hard worker, and the middle of the season to the end, he became one of the kids who spoke all the time. And then you can't leave out guys like Christian Kopech, who had a big beginning of the season. James Delahanty was starting in the beginning of the season. Guys like Chris Fabozzi. We have guys that maybe on other teams they get a little bit more of a shot, but they came here to CSI. We had a pretty short rotation, and I know they're hungry to challenge guys in front of them for a spot.
So the Panthers get off a leadoff bunt single to start their half of the 4th inning, and that'll bring up right field Christian Greishaber. And TJ, one of the things that the Dolphins struggled a little bit with was their size inside. There was just not much size on this team. Anything to look forward to in the upcoming year as far as the team being able to get a little bit bigger?
Well, I think there may be a couple of new faces on the roster that will make us a taller team. I really believe that the type of school that the College of Staten Island is, for one reason or another, we don't – in Division III basketball, you got to get really lucky getting good big guys that are ready. Because when you're a good big guy in high school, everybody's looking for a big guy. So Division I and Division II guys, they take a look at these guys. So, it's tough, but we make do with what we have. But I wouldn't be surprised if our roster was a little bit taller next year.
And has the schedule already been worked out for next year? Do you already know what your upcoming schedule is? And does it feature, as it typically does, some very tough non-conference opponents?
Our schedule is done besides a contract, so I won't really get into detail to the ink is dry. But, our goal is we know we're going to be challenged every year in the CUNY conference. But our goal is to be a regionally strong and build into a nationally strong program. And to be able to do that, we have to go out and play teams that already have that rep, teams that, make the tournament every year or every other year, teams that play in the top conferences, teams that play in conferences where they get multiple teams into the NCAA tournament. So we're fortunate that we have a lot of those teams locally. A lot of teams that we already have, on our schedule in the past. But I think the biggest advantage that we have is the ability to have the Tournament of Heroes every year, which not only serves as a great thing for the community, but it's able to attract the high-level, high-caliber programs to be able to play. So I'm looking forward. I'm excited about next year's schedule. I think it's extremely challenging, and I know the kids are excited to play the best of the best wherever we may play them.
Yeah, and, the CUNYAC Conference really was very exciting last year. A lot of good teams, and, the Dolphins had to come out and win 3 consecutive very tough games, starting with Brooklyn College and finishing with that 2-point win against Lehman College. And, the guys really came out and, as they did all year long, TJ, really gave you all the effort that they had.
Yeah, they just really rose to the occasion. And you got to give a team like Brooklyn, who we played pretty well against in the 2 games during the year, it shows how close our conference is, that it was a 1-point game at our home in the playoffs. So in any playoffs or any sport, any level, you can kind of throw out the records. And, the good thing about the CUNY Conference is that the other coaches do a tremendous job of bringing guys in. We get a lot of different kids that transfer home to respective schools into the city. So you kind of never know what the roster is going to look like into November, until they're out. But it's so exciting because we have really great coaches who are trying to better the league and trying to figure out how we could challenge ourselves. And I think Zach does a great job managing the league and the conference and, live streaming our games and things like that. We had a nice crowd for our championship game, and that's a great experience for our student athletes.
And, TJ, one final question for you before we let you go. We're about 9 minutes away from the start of the NFL draft. Who are the Giants taking, and who are the Jets taking at 2 and 3?
Well, the Jets could take anybody that keeps them bad. I don't care about the Jets. But as a Penn State football fan my entire life, I'm really biased to Saquon Barkley. I could totally understand if at number 2 he's not the pick that you should take, but I'll be really excited if they take him. My bet is on that they're going to trade down and try to get a couple of good players, because I don't think they're in love with anybody at 2. But if we do select somebody at 2, me selfishly, I would love to go run and get a Saquon Barkley jersey from Odell's tomorrow morning.
Yeah, something you could certainly do worse than a player that tests the way that Barkley does. Thanks a lot for coming over and joining us, TJ, and I can honestly say can't wait for basketball season to begin.
Me neither. And before I go, I've been watching this game, and I know the right fielder for Westbury, she just got up. I think that's the amazing thing about sports. The girl could barely move, and she's out there for her team. She really is non-effective, and she knows that. And you can see every time a ball goes out there that she's really discouraged that she can't help her team. But it's so admirable that she's out there and just, filling the spot so that they can have a chance to contend with a tough CSI softball team, and it's just an amazing thing to watch.
Yeah, you're right, TJ, and it really is something that you could say about all of these Division III athletes. The amount of time and effort and sweat and tears that these players put in, and they're just out there because they love to play the game, and it really is something to see.
That's why we love to do it, but thanks for having me here, and, of course, go Dolphins.
Okay, that's head men's basketball coach TJ Tibbs, nice enough to allow me to grab him and take a few minutes out of his night to come over and talk CSI men's basketball, a men's basketball team that made another return trip to the NCAA Division championship round and gave Capriti all they wanted, and Eden Bracic buried a big three-pointer, gave the Dolphins a lead with just under 2 minutes remaining. But unfortunately for the Dolphins, it just wasn't enough. But looking forward for next basketball season to get started here as we're in the bottom half of the 4th inning. The Dolphins leading by a score of 5-3. Christian Barr leading off for the Dolphins here, and the count runs full to 3-2. Christian looked to bunt with 1 out in the 2nd inning, reached on a fielder's choice that loaded the bases for the Dolphins, and then the Dolphins were able to bring home 4 runs as Barr goes down swinging on strikes. 1 up, 1 down here in the 4th, and that'll bring up Patricia Riches. Riches with the big 2 RBI base hit that tied this game up in the 2nd for the Dolphins. She's 2 for 2 in game number 2. The wind and the pitch is swung on. That's grounded inside the third base line, and that's going to roll into the corner. That's in for a base hit. Richards turning second. She's going to go to third, and she'll be in there sliding. A one-out triple down the left field line for Patricia Richards, and the Dolphins are in business once again with one out, a runner at third base, and Antoinette Galbo will be the batter. So Annette Galbo will be the batter. She was called out for batters for hitting the ball as she attempted to bunt her way on and was called out as that pitch is outside for a strike. And I believe the count is even now at 1-1 on Galbo. So Galbo 0 for 2 in game number 2. The pitch to Galbo, swung on and bounced back to the mound. It's going to be played there by Barron, but by the time she gets it out of her glove, it'll be too late as Galbo will be on first base. That'll be a fielder's choice, I think, on the play, and that will put runners now at first and second with one out. So that'll bring up Vanessa Joya. As Galbo will go into second base on the play. So Galbo able to steal second base. The Dolphins now with two runners in scoring position now with just one out in the bottom of the fourth. The pitch to Galbo is swung on and grounded to second base. Richards will come home to score. The throw over to first base just in time to get Joya. Vanessa will pick up her third RBI of game number 2. And the Dolphins now take a 6-3 lead with runners at first, with runner at third base, and now 2 outs. And that's going to bring up Erica Olson. Olson replacing Jamie Holmes as that pitcher swung on and grounded to second base once again. And the throw over to first base just in time as Skelly just got that ball over to first base in time for the final out. The Dolphins add another run, 4 in the books. Dolphins lead by a score of 6. It's 6-3, and we'll step aside, take a break, and we'll be right back. We're back, and we're getting ready now for the top half of the 5th inning. It'll be the top of the order here for the Panthers as that ball is blooped over the first base line but foul, and the count goes to 0-1. Panthers scored 3 runs in their half of the first. Dolphins responded with 1 in the first, 4 in the second, 1 in the fourth, and they lead by a score of 6-3. Mars wind and pitch is swung on and foul back. That's going to be on the screen and out of play, and the count goes to 0-2. So since Allison allowed those 3 runs in the first inning, she's allowed just a couple of hits and faced just 1 batter over the minimum, and they were able to get a double play. And she's now ahead in the count 0-2 on the leadoff batter, Burnell, here in the 5th. As that pitch is swung on and blooped into right field, and that's going to be in for a base hit. So Burnell gets the ball into the outfield and opposite field, base hit, and the Panthers off to a good start here in their half of the 5th. We're in the top half of the first inning, and the first pitch is going to be taken for a strike, 0-1. No balls, 1 strike to count. As Blum steps out. Blum 1 for 2 in game number 2. Reached on a fielder's choice and singled. As that pitch is going to be fouled off and out of play, and the count goes to 0-2. No balls, 2 strikes to count. As Maul looking in for the sign. The 0-2 is up high for a ball, 1-2, throw to first, not in time. One ball, 2 strikes to count. The wind and the 1-2 pitch. It's down low for a ball. That'll even the count up now at 2-2. One ball, 2 strikes. And the pitch is swung, and that's grounded right back up the middle. That's going to be in for a base hit. Severiso gets it in quickly, but a good start here to the top half of the 5th inning with back-to-back singles for the Panthers. So that's going to bring up Amelia Caridi. Caridi walked and struck out. She's 0 for 1 in game number 2. First pitch is taken for a ball, 1-0. So 1 ball, no strikes to count. The pitch is bunted on and missed, and that's going to even the count up at 1-1. The 1-1 pitch is taken just outside for a ball, 2-1. We're in the top half of the 5th inning as that pitch is swung on and nub foul, and that's going to even the count up at 2-2. So 2 balls, 2 strikes to count on Caridi. The wind and the 2-2 was swung on and fouled off, and the count holds at 2-2. Two balls, 2 strikes, no one out, 2 on. We're here in the top half of the 5th inning. Dolphins lead by a score of 6-3, but the Panthers threatening. The wind and the pitch. Check swing, strike 3. Nice pitch that time by Ma, going with the off-speed breaking ball. And that's going to bring up the third baseman, Amanda Fucci. Fucci walked and lined a hard ball into right field. Juliana Quatella came up throwing and got the 9-3 put out. So Amanda is 0 for 1 and falls behind in the count now, 0-1. Ma looking in for the sign. The pitch is a swing and a miss. And that's going to run the count now to 1-2. Ma looking in for the sign now. And the pitch is a off-speed breaking pitch. Ma gets it over to short for 1. Back to first. Not in time. So Ma gets the force over to Riches as Blum is out at second for the second out. Burnell goes to third. Now Fucci will go to first with 2 outs. And that's going to bring up the catcher, Samantha Orsesi. Samantha 0 for 2 here in game number 2. The wind, the pitch to Ortiz is swung on and fouled off, 0-1. Samantha looking for her first hit of the afternoon. She's been behind the plate in both games here for the Panthers. The wind, the 0-1, is taken on the outside corner for a strike, 0-2. So Ma now 1 pitch away from working herself out of trouble here in the top of the 5th. Big chance for the Panthers with 2 runners on and 2 out. The pitch is outside for a ball, and that'll make the count 1-2. One ball, 2 strikes. As Ma now looking in for the sign. And the pitch is swung on and fouled off over the Panther dugout out of play, and the count holds at 1-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 out, 2 on, top of the 5th. 6-3 Dolphins. Ma winds. The 1-2. Swung, grounded to third. Galbo plays it, bobbles it, struggles to get it out of her glove, but gets it over to first base in time for the final out. Panthers threaten but do not score. No runs, 2 hits, 2 left. 4.5 innings in the books. Dolphins lead 6-3. We'll step aside, take a break, and be right back. We're back, and we're getting ready now for the bottom half of the fifth inning. The Panthers with a big opportunity in their half of the fifth inning, and they got back-to-back singles by Burnell and Broom, but a great job by Allison Marr as she struck out Caridi, got Fucci to ground into a force play, and then Samantha Archese ground out 5-3. Gabo had trouble getting it out of her glove, but able to get it over to first base just in time for the out, and that's going to bring up Gabrielle De Leon to lead off here in the bottom half of the fifth inning. She's 0 for 2 and takes a strike. And De Leon drills that one into left center field, and that's going to be in for a base hit. De Leon will round second, and she'll hold there. So a good start for De Leon and the Dolphins here as she drills that one down toward the left field corner and gets a leadoff double to start here in the bottom half of the fifth inning for the Dolphins, who lead by a score of 6-3. And that'll bring up Allison Marr. Allison 0 for 2 in game number 2. She had that pitch hit 3-run homer, and then she drills that one into center field, and that's going to be in for a base hit. De Leon will round third. She'll score easily. It's going to be a single and an RBI for Allison Marr, and the College of Staten Island opens their lead up now to 7-3. So it looks like head coach Stella Porter will put in a pinch runner here for Allison so she can go back and get herself ready to continue to pitch, as Ariana Di Benedetto will come in and run now for Marr. So Di Benedetto will go down to first base, and it's going to bring up Christina Severiso. Christina red hot here in this doubleheader. 3 hits in game number 1, 2 hits here in game number 2 as she continues to elevate her batting average and give the Dolphins the kind of bat that they thought they were getting from Christina, moving her into center field as the count now goes to 0-1. The pitch. Just missed the outside corner for a ball. That's going to even the count up at 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 run in for the Dolphins here in the fifth, as they have a 7-3 lead, and that pitch is taken for a strike, 1-2. One ball, 2 strikes. The pitch to Severiso is swung on and grounded to short. The throw over to second. In time, Blum able to get the ball over to Skelly. No throw over to first. So Severino will ground it to the force out. She'll go down to first base now with 1 out, and that's going to bring up the right fielder, Juliana Quintella. Quintella also starting to heat up at the bat for the Dolphins as she swings and bloops that ball in towards right field. That's going to be in for a base hit. Rounding second and heading over to third base will be Severiso. Quintella with her 3rd hit here in this second game. The Dolphins now with runners at first and third, still just 1 out. And the second baseman, Christian Marr. So Christian Marr will be the batter for the Dolphins. They have a 4-run lead here with 1 out in the fifth. The wind, she shows bunt, pulls the bunt back as Quintella goes into second base with the stolen base, and now the Dolphins with 2 runners in scoring position and 1 out. Christian 0 for 2 in the second game as she swings that one down to first base. And she'll be tagged out going to first base. It'll be an unassisted fielder's choice for the out, but Marr will pick up an RBI as Di Benedetto comes around to score. Quintella goes over to third base, and the Dolphins now lead by a score of 8-3. And that'll bring up Patricia Riches. Riches hitless in the first game, 3 hits here in game number 2. As that pitch is taken for a ball, 1-0. Patricia with a single, double, and triple here in game number 2. going for the cycle. The wind and the pitch is swung on, and that's drilled deep into right center field. Going back is the center fielder, Neenan, and it's going to be over our head. Richards is going to round second and head into third. It's going to be her second triple of game number 2, her 4th hit of the game. It'll be an RBI for Richards, her 3rd of the game, and the Dolphins now lead by a score of 9-3. So that'll bring up Antoinette Galbo. Galbo has been red hot of late, but she's 0 for 3 here in game number 2. The pitch to Galbo. Nice off-speed breaking pitch has Galbo way out in front. Swing and a miss for a strike, 0-1. The wind and the pitch to Galbo was swung on. That's grounded right back towards the box. Played there by Barron. She gets it over to first base in time for the final out of the inning, but not before the Dolphins had 3 runs, 5 complete in the books. The Dolphins lead by a score of 9-3. We'll step aside, take a break. You're watching softball coverage right here on CSI Sportsnet, CSIDolphins.com. We're back getting ready for the top half of the 6th inning, and the Cleveland Browns have selected Baker Mayfield. And boy, oh boy, what kind of pressure is that going to put on the Giants now? Sam Darnold, Saquon Barkley, where did the Giants go? And what does that mean for the Jets as well? A lot of rumors that the Jets really were very interested in Baker Mayfield. So a lot of excitement going on here at the table as Baker Mayfield, the number 1 pick. Tom, could you see if you get Mel Kiper on the line for us here? So the Giants now were about to go on the clock as Baker Mayfield is the pick, and that opens the field wide open for the Giants. And we'll see what they do. Boy, oh boy, a lot of excitement here. So it's going to be the top half of the 6th inning now. It'll be Skelly leading off here for the Panthers. Skelly, Neenan, and Greishaber, the 3 batters scheduled in the 6th for the Panthers. First pitch taken down low for a ball, 1-0. So 1 ball, no strikes. The pitch is swung, grounded to short, played down a couple of hops by Richards, gun over to first base in time for the out. 1 up, 1 down for the Panthers here in this half of the 6th inning. That's going to bring up the center fielder, Amanda Neenan. Neenan had that big 2-run double in the 1st inning to drive in 2 of the 3 Panther runs, but great job by Allie Marr really settling down from that point forward. She's really shut the door on the Panthers and has not allowed a run since that 1st inning. The 1-1 pitch is down low for a ball. I should say that will make it 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike to count. And the 1-1 pitch is swung on, grounded back toward the mound, played there by Ma. The throw over to Trapani is not in time. And that will be scored, a base hit. And that's going to be an error on the play. So now 1 out, 1 on for the Panthers. The pitch is swung on and bunted foul. And the count goes to 0-1. Boy, 0-1 the count. The pitch is outside for a ball, 1-1. One ball, one strike, 1 out, 1 on here in the top of the 6th. The pitch is swung on, and that's blooped into center field. Severino is there, and she makes the catch for the 2nd out. So a nice hand for Grace Haber, who hit that ball hard, goes back to the bench. 2 out, 1 on now for the Panthers. As the ball is bunted to first base, played there by Trapani. The throw over to Ma in time for the final out. So Barron is out 3-4 for the final out. No runs, 1 left here for the Panthers in their half of the 6th. The Dolphins will come to bat, leading by a score of 9-3. We'll step aside, take a break, and be right back. So Saquon Barkley, the number 2 pick here by the New York Giants, they said they were going to do it. They told everybody they were going to do it, and they did it. And, you know, boy, oh boy, it's certainly hard to argue with the fact that the Giants picked the best player in the draft. He was number 1 on almost every board. So the Giants threatened to do it. There was a lot of outcry about them doing it, and they went ahead and did it. And now the Jets will be on the clock with the ability to pick any one of the 3 quarterbacks that they want. And a real exciting time here. And boy, oh boy, it's going to be a lot of controversy here in New York tomorrow. Saquon Barkley, the pick of the Giants. But boy, oh boy, it's hard to argue with the talent of Barkley in that spot. So we're going to get ready now for the bottom half of the 6th inning with the Dolphins leading by a score of 9-3. As Nicole Barron out there taking up her warm-up throws. Well, so for the Dolphins, it's going to be 3, 4, and 5. Joya to lead off here for the Dolphins. Olsen and De Leon. So Vanessa Joya will lead off here. Vanessa, a good big game in game number 2, driving home 3 runs. She's 1 for 3 with a triple and 3 RBIs. The wind and the first pitch to Joya is swung on and drilled down the right field line foul. And out of play, and the count goes to 0-1. No balls, 1 strike now on Joya. The wind and the 0-1 is swung on and grounded foul down the first baseline out of play, and the count goes to 0-2. The wind and the pitch is up high for a ball, 1-2. The wind and the 1-2 is swung on, and that's drilled up the middle, and that's going to be in there for a base hit. So Joya gets the leadoff single. That will bring the winning run to the plate in Erica Olson. The wind and the first pitch to Olson is taken for a strike, 0-1. No balls and 1 strike. The wind and the pitch is up high for a ball, 1-1. The wind and the pitch. It's taken for a strike, 1-2. So Nicole Barron trying to prevent the Dolphins from picking up a couple of runs here in the 6th. The pitch is swung on and grounded slowly towards second base. It's played there by Skelly. She gets it over to first base in time for the out. Joya will go down to second base. And now with 1 out, that's going to bring up the left fielder, Gabrielle De Leon. The wind and the first pitch to De Leon is taken for a ball, 1-0. The wind and the pitch is swung on and grounded slowly towards third. Under the glove of the third baseman, played there by Blum. The throw over to first base will not be in time. Going on to third base after the throw will be Joya. So now the Dolphins with the game-winning run at first base with 1 out. And that's going to bring up Allison Marr. Allison Marr, the batter here for the Dolphins, as time is called. As we await for the announcement of the New York Jet pick. So we have a little bit of a break in the action.
Hey, Sam, hope it's a good
So a little bit of a delay here in the game. As we have a little bit of a break in the action here. As we anxiously await the announcement of the Jet pick, you'll hear Joe Foreman let the fans know in the background here. Sam Darnold will be the new quarterback of the New York Jets as the Jets get the man that many people thought might go to the Giants, but instead the Giants go for Barkley, and the Jets swoop in, and they take Sam Darnold. Big night in Dallas as the Jets get their franchise quarterback and the Giants get their franchise running back, and we'll see over the next few years who made the right choice. As we get ready for Allison Marr to step back in the box, Dolphins with runners at first and third, 1 out. As Barron's ready. 1-0. The wind and the pitch to Ma is taken, and the throw will go back to the mound, so De Leon will steal second base, and now the Dolphins have the winning run at second base, and a single to the outfield could end this one for the Dolphins. The pitch to Ma, swung on and grounded toward the middle, played there nicely by Blum. The throw over to first base in time for the out. Coming home to score will be Joya. Ma will be out 6-3, but she'll pick up her second RBI of Game 2, her fifth RBI of the night. The winning run for the Dolphins is now at third base with 2 outs, and it's going to bring up Christina Severiso. Severiso also with 5 hits on the night as she swings and drills that one deep to center field. Going way back on the ball and unable to play it will be Noonan. Coming in to score will be De Leon. It will be a double and an RBI for Severiso, and that's going to do it. The College of Staten Island wins this game by a final score of 11-3, as it's an 8-run lead, and the Dolphins sweep this doubleheader here tonight. So big couple of wins here for the CSI Dolphins. They win game number 1 by a final score of 8-0. Game number 1 by a final score of 11-3, scoring the final 11 runs of the game. Nicolette Trapani picked up the win in game number 1. She ups her record to 8-6. Allison Marr picks up the win here in game number 2 as Allison ups her record now to 9-4. Christina Severiso, 7 hits on the night, including driving home the final run in game number 2. And the College of Staten Island sweeps this doubleheader from Old Westbury, and they will get ready to play against New Jersey City University here tomorrow at the CSI Softball Complex. The first pitch scheduled for 4:30. The pregame show will be on at 4:15. So, on a night that we brought you Athletic Director Charles Gomes, head men's basketball coach TJ Tibbs, and the NFL Draft, and a pair of big CSI Dolphin wins in softball. That's going to wrap things up here from the CSI Softball Complex. Don't forget to join us tomorrow night as the Dolphins will face New Jersey University in a non-conference softball doubleheader as the Dolphins look to extend their winning streak as it now stands at 6 games. So this is Mike Babusky along with Joe Foreman and Tom Kriskowski and Charles Gomes and TJ Tibbs and the rest of the crew here saying so long. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to join us tomorrow afternoon as the Dolphins will face New Jersey City University in a non-conference doubleheader. Have a great night, everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow night.